This thing should be live now if everything is to be believed. So, hello everyone. Hope all of you are having a good Sunday. Now, I know that last time I said I was going to do something similar, but I didn't do this. I ended up doing something completely different. So here we are. I decided to actually follow through with my promise and actually do what I actually said that I was going to do. If that makes any sense to anyone listening. I'm actually stuck trying to deal with this phone right now. There it is. There it is. Now I can actually read people without having to be on a weird alt tab mode. There we go. Hope everyone is having a good Sunday. I see people arriving. Hello Lodi Graceful, hello Kanosuba, hello Kuntash, hello Name. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, I didn't watch the race. I did hear a bit of a resume of F1 and guess it was worth the sleeping rather than actually watching it. Didn't miss anything too interesting. So what do I have here? Well, I guess it's better if I cut to chase and actually tell you what I have here. What I have here is a few sources of developments of things that have happened in my car market because I actually want to get the numbers correct. Long story short, there are a couple of reasons why cars are so expensive in here, and we're going to get into looking at the cars right now, but the main one is obviously taxation. Taxation in here is ridiculous for absolutely everything, and cars are not the exception. In fact, they're probably one of the worst offenders, if not the worst offender. However, in this year, there have been a few reductions on taxes, and one of the most important taxes has been, which had two tiers. The first tier was up to cars which were of a value of between 40 million and 75 million pesos, which is around $40,000 to $70,000. Well, this one has been eliminated. Before they used to pay a 20% tax over the value of said car, and now the only one which exists is for cars over 75 million pesos, which will be around $70,000, a bit less, has been reduced from 35% to 18%. Is this the end? No, this is just one. If you allow me, I think it was Alt and Tab it was? Let me check. Yeah, it's Alt and Tab. This is not the one I wanted to no, which, damn it, I forgot which button used to. It's easier if I do this. Excuse me if it looks weird. No. Where are you? No, it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. The one I wanted to get my hands on. I think yes, it's here. Yeah, it's here. So look, I want to show you this picture. You're not going to understand it too well because it's in Spanish. However, I want you to focus on the last tab, which says in here, where it says 74.97 and 99.78. Before the reduction of said tax, now the cars which on this first tier are 18% down on taxes will be, or 20% down, I forgot the number. We're going to get into cars soon. I just want to get this out of the way. This one has been reduced by, I said 18%, and this one has been reduced in half. So it went from paying this 35% to paying 18%. So there's still all of these taxes, and this is for regional cars. This is all for regional cars, which pretty much adds up to almost 100% over value, will be a proper estimate to make, even right now, because even if the prices have been reduced, what happened is, people bought, well, the dealers bought cars before taxes were reduced. So now there's a bit of an infight in which who's going to actually pay the money they lost in taxes. Nobody wants to admit the loss, so cars are still a bit expensive. And we're talking about new cars, obviously. We're going to get into used cars soon because that's their own nightmare. And when it comes to imports are even worse because you have all sorts of taxes as well stacked on, as well as these ones. So the only vehicles that have a right, because we have a treaty with Brazil, are are Brazilian cars. They pay 0% tax for imports. However, everything else goes all the way up to 35%. And, well, there are other things which get added, it seems, but other cars get stuck with a 35% tax, as well as all of this, which is consume tax, which is VAT, and depending on your region, it's probably called different. And all of these things. So we're talking cars which you can often have over 100% in tax. However, thanks to all of these reductions, if I just go here and write, allow me to write, I'm gonna write taxes in Spanish because I want to prove a point. With the tax reductions, we have seen all this news repeat with all sorts of brands. Audi lowering their prices for around $60,000, Alfa Romeo $40,000 in reduction on certain models, and so on and so forth. Mercedes-Benz $66,000 reduced on taxes. All of this because of tax reduction. All of this for tax reduction. You're having insane cuts that we haven't seen in ages. I personally haven't seen this in my life. Cars coming down is insane. Of course, these are the brands, the dealerships can do whatever they want. But this news has, even on motorbikes, because the tax cut has affected motorbikes, $20,000 on Harley Davidson motorbikes. Stellantis, Volkswagen, Honda, pretty much all the major Porsche, $156,000 on tax reduction. Lexus, around $60,000. All of this effect has been done by not even removing, just lowering some of the taxes. Which, if brands are able to make these sort of reductions, it should tell you how bad it really is, that how much we're paying, just not on the car itself, but taxation. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and there's no other way to describe it. And I hope that this little introduction helps to put things in perspective, because this isn't new. The country has been like this for decades, if not the entire history of the Argentinian car market. There have been periods where imports were completely banned, so you have gaps in between different decades where you had import cars, or not, there weren't any import cars, at least legally, or there are very few. And then you have cases where imports were so ridiculously expensive that nobody made them, like now, and there are very few. Then you have other issues which get in the way to actually conspire, well, not conspire, but they get in the way of importing new cars, so there are no new cars, and the game never ends. The game absolutely never ends. So right now, it's, I have to be honest, there are a few positives of the current situation that we're experiencing right now, but at the same time there are a lot of negatives, because now that the ball is rolling and people have realized that taxes are going to be reduced and the cost of new cars is going to come down, it means the cost of used cars also needs to come down, obviously, because people aren't going to pay $50,000 for a car which has 5 years on the road when they can get a new one for the same. It's not going to happen. So what's happening is pretty much everyone wants to bail out before the prices crash. And you're just encountering ridiculous prices for cars that just aren't worth it, and everybody's just throwing money at this. And the worst thing is that some of them move, but not all of them. Pretty much nobody's buying. And not even new cars are selling. You might be wondering why. Well, it's simple, because people are expecting further tax cuts. So nobody's going to buy new cars. So everything is kind of stopped right now. And nobody knows what to do, because everyone is expecting the next tax cut. But brands are going to lose money because they already bought the cars with the ridiculously high taxes. So it's a really bizarre game, but in the end, the game that has to be played, because otherwise we're always going to be paying 100% tax on multiple cars, which aren't even worth it. It's absurd. So with that out of the way, hey Juanma, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Si Pasho. No. Yes. Well, at least I get paid for being insulted. This is the good thing about YouTube. I get paid, and you all get to insult me in exchange of money. So let's do this. Let me copy this, please. So the plan for today is showing you some of the most sold cars in my country, show their prices, and at the same time I'm going to show you the cars I would like to get my hands on, and how much are they asking here and how much are they asking in, well, reasonable countries. That is the plan for today, at least. Just let me get this done. And now it should be done. The EU car market was mental. Yeah, but this one is worst. You haven't seen anything if you think the EU is mental. It's looking fine there. So let's just go and let's just cut all of this and start cutting into the cars. These are, yeah, sure. I'm going to keep these around because I might just want to reference some of this. Yeah, I want to reference this in case it happens. So let's go here and take a look at some of the most sold cars in 2024. Well, according to the lists, we're going to go back a little bit. Not too far back because it's kind of hard to find accurate resources, and that's the problem I've been facing for this. I wanted to go further back, but I couldn't. So we're just gonna go back to 2024. It's okay because I just want to show the point. Toyota has been the leader in my country for a real long time, especially with the Hilux. The Toyota Hilux is like the middle class slash high end car with, well, pickup truck which people aspire to. So we're going to look at, first off, we're going to look at the Toyota Hilux. Sorry for the changing in when I change tab. It's easier than just pressing the wrong keys and something going wrong. Toyota Hilux. No, just Toyota Hilux. Simple. No. And we're going to look at 2025 first, and then we'll go down a couple of years. 2025, 11. So this is a Hilux SRX, which is probably the top of the line variant. This dealership is asking 62 million pesos for a new one, for a 2025 new one. I'm going to do the maths and let you all know how much it is in dollars so we all understand each other. It doesn't look bad in red, I gotta admit. So it's around $50,000 for a Toyota Hilux. This thing is $50,000 new right now. They also come in silver if you are so inclined. I prefer red, but not everyone likes red. People prefer more dull colors, it seems. The interior of these things is adequate. I guess I will describe it as adequate. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's certainly not a luxury car. It's certainly not a luxury car. Sorry, I want to drink water, so I've been slightly slow with my words. I didn't get to sit in the 2025 one, but I've been able to be a passenger in one of the previous older ones. I mean, what, 5 years old or thereabouts. They're pretty rough inside. The seats are pretty stiff. The suspension is really, really stiff for what you will expect out of a truck. It's not. It doesn't cope with bumps well. Personally, found it kind of uncomfortable. So I don't know. I mean, $50,000, you could probably do much better than this. I hate that you cannot just. And this one is the. This one is the. We could call it the luxury version of the Hilux. This is the SW4. I'm gonna read a few of you for a second. King of Mercado Central. The Ranger is selling pretty well here, and so is the Maverick. But the Hilux is, everyone just associates Toyota with being higher quality and more luxurious in quotation marks. So Toyota has higher prestige here, so they are still selling a lot. But Ford has come a long way, and they're doing really well with their new generation of Ranger and the new Maverick. So yes, those are doing quite well. We're going to look at those. Yeah, no. See that's the problem, Konosuba. These things, these SUVs and trucks exist for this because it's pretty much a taxation reason. You see, pickup trucks in here have less taxes than the rest of the average car world and even SUVs. So for decades, well, 2 decades, give or take, people have opted out of cars because they could buy less car for the same amount of money, and they will buy a truck because it's better equipped and, just a better business all around. So they just buy trucks. The new Bronco, I don't think so. We have the Bronco Sport, which is selling pretty well. And this thing can be described as the Argentinian Land Cruiser. They're asking a lot of money for one, and it's not even close to the Land Cruiser, to be honest. But this is the regional version. So how much they're asking for one, this dealership at least? 78 million pesos. So that's it. Converted to dollars, give or take. We're just gonna take a bit of an in-between value to simplify. No, I made a mistake. I hate using calculators. I'm not good with numbers, even when I have to type them. Divided by 1250. $62,000 for this, by the way. $62,000 for this. Yeah, it's a lot of money. That's totally Lexus money. We're going to look at Lexus. I promise you. We're going to look at the luxury brands sooner or later. If y'all want to ask something, just go ahead and I'll probably look it up for you. This is not a truck I will buy. Not even if I was obliged to, because I found it really expensive. And the reality is that you're paying an absolute fortune for cars which are, let's just put it honestly, these things are for the third world market, right? So the quality of these cars is always going to be subpar compared to imports from the European or the North American market. So you're paying a fortune for something which is not quite there in terms of quality. And you could probably get much more car for a ton less money if you were willing to go down a few years, honestly, as I'm going to show you right now. So those are some of the prices for there of course there are lower trims, but usually I don't think looking at lower trims is kind of, I think it's kind of a bit of a sacrifice, because yeah, sure, you could get an entry level Hilux, but do you really want to go around in this? These things are usually bought by companies rather than full blown civilians. This is totally a company truck. There's look at how basic the interior looks. Let me do an A and B shot. 2025. Gonna I'll I'll fit the screens properly in a moment. Look at this. I mean, this is the entry level one. And this is the fully fledged one, the top of the line SRX. It doesn't look like much, does it? But it kind of does look like much at the same time. But then again, you're paying around 20 million pesos less for this thing. This is 40, and this is 60. This is a third of the price of the top of the line, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. We're not even looking at equipment here. We're not going to look at the spec sheets of equipment because it's irrelevant for what I want to prove right now. Have you seen? Yeah, I know. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the entry-level cars. Right now, we just want to show new cars first to set, the bar. So most people don't know what we consume here, so I want to explain what we consume first. Yeah, the suspension in the Hilux is pretty stiff. I was saying the same. I even able to ride in one, and yeah, that's the same feeling I had. I want to look at this for a second because the next pickup that there is of course as mentioned previously, the Ford Ranger. We're going to look at pickups for a little because they are the most popular, without a doubt. So we're going to look at the 2025 Rangers. Yes, I am from Argentina. So the Ranger Limited is the fully equipped one, and they're asking 72 million pesos, which is around let's do the exchange rate. 72 by the 50. No. $57,000. How is the exchange rate with the euro? I'm not too certain because we don't really use euros here. We mostly work with US dollars, so euros are kind of a niche currency, and we don't really have the exchange rate with them. So, I mean, we do have exchange rate with euros, but it's not something that's on the mind of the entire population. The US dollar hits much closer to home, really. This is depressive. Happy birthday, Yellow. How are you doing? Hey, thanks, Holly, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And we're not even getting started with the cars, which people like me, well, I can't even access them, but you know what I mean. I mean, these are the high-end new cars which people buy. I'm not even in this cap of. I'm not even in this in this world. I'm in the sub $1,000 world if we have to even consider a car for myself. Not even. No, I'm going to talk about my personal situation a bit later, but I just want to show you the cars that sell in my country first. The Ranger has had a restyling recently. I guess it's in the previous year, so we're having a lot of these new units appear on the street. It has its charm, really. It's a B6 turbo, by the way, turbo diesel B6. And it's alright. It's alright. Personally, I prefer it a bit aesthetically and mechanical wise. I think it's better than the Hilux because the Hilux is still much slower. And it's older technology, really. I had this argument with people where they defend older technology, and personally, I think that it's not the best stance to take. You can make reliable things without just having them be 20 years old. They look pretty nice in blue, to be honest. No, Holly, my birthday was previous Monday, the 10th. If it says birthday or something, let me know, because that was my previous stream, and I should have changed something. And I didn't, because I'm lazy. Look at that center panel. The tablet tacked on the middle of the dashboard. Yeah, that's kind of disgusting, really. It screams low quality. It screams slow quality, and that's pretty much what you have to get used to here. Things are relatively low effort. They're not going to try too hard. They're not going to care if it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's not like you have many options really, and it's not like they're going to sell tons of these things, so who cares? In Italy, the used car market is really messed up. People overcharge a lot because they know by default most buyers want a used car over a new one. Yeah, that's a thing, isn't it? And there's probably the fact of costs, that new cars are too expensive and people don't want to buy them, so they're willing to go used, but that means there's a lot of demand for the same used cars, therefore they get more expensive, and pretty much everything is a disaster because used cars should be cheaper, and a lot of times they're rivaling the new car, especially if you get into some sort of payment plan or whatever. Yeah, it can be quite messy, really. Yeah, the tablets. Just we're going to give it another look before we go. I want a good center shot of the tablet. Yeah, no, that was a bad. Yes, this one. Oh man, that doesn't look good. And this weird grills behind it. I assume that those are the AC vents, but they don't look good. That whole interior doesn't look good. Not good at all. And that's another $60,000 pickup. And the third one is the probably most infamous one. I do think that we have to talk about this one. The Volkswagen Amarok is an icon. Not in the good, not in a good way. Not in a good way whatsoever. You see, for a decade or so, Volkswagen was the only one which offered a turbocharged diesel pickup truck, and it could be considered the only performance truck that we had for a decade or so. Which means a lot of people who got their hands in one are the sorts of people who, I'm struggling to find the term in English. It's not racers because they don't modify them. It's like the BMW owners of Argentina, to put it nicely. These are the sort of people that are constantly flashing at every single car on the road, begging them to let them through, even when they don't have the priority to get through. They have to sit back and let the other car just sit there in the highway. And they're always causing that. They're always involved in some sort of accident. They're always involved in some sort of violence. They always have questionable modifications with massive rims and questionable chips or performance modifications, and so on and so forth. For a decade or so, the Volkswagen Amarok has been pretty much it's the sort of car the sort of truck which people who think they like cars buy, and then they proceed to do all the things which people who actually know about cars don't do because they're stupid, and those people think that they're, that's what it means to like a car. Just break every single traffic rule and transit rule and get fined for existing. Yeah, I get stuck when I speak. This thing had a restyling recently, which is really ugly, to be honest. It's not a good look. It's not a good look whatsoever. And the market is actually showing that people aren't buying this as much as they were buying the previous models. For context, these are the previous generation. Let's just look at 2023. No. Yeah. This is how the previous generation looked, by the way. It's much prettier, to be honest. Much pretty. By the way, this generation, which you see, has been sold for 10 years. This is how they looked on release, and this is how they looked until last year. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. Probably some equipment changed, but very, very few details, borderline irrelevant details. And this, how you see it, has been the performance pickup on, well, it has been the performance car as well, because people buy pickups over cars. So this is the performance icon of the Argentinian market, by the way. And you might be wondering, oh, it's actually quick. It's not. It's actually not. Let's just look at this real quick. 0 to 100. Let's just look at that. 7.4 seconds, 0 to 100, which is a 0 to 60 miles. My god. It's not exactly quick. It is not exactly quick. But here it's considered a performance car. Those are trucks. So now that I explain the situation with trucks, those are the top 3. We're gonna look at the top 3 cars. So you might say, I don't know, some of the names might sound familiar. Like if I go and write Peugeot 208, you're gonna say, hey, the 208 is sold in Europe. Oh, hey, Subhunter, thank you so much for the 20 euros. I really appreciate that. Here in Portugal, one of the lower income EU countries, cars are also heavily taxed, but prices for these pickups are a bit lower, about 5 to 10,000 euros lower than in Argentina. Makes sense that the prices in Argentina are probably some of the most expensive cars in the world, bar none. Recently, thanks to the tax reductions, we have actually gone down a few steps, but we were champions on that. We were the most expensive car. We had the most expensive cars in the world at some time. So, yeah. Thank you so much for your donation, by the way. I really appreciate that. Let me go here. An overpriced Ranger, overpriced Amarok, overpriced S-Class. We didn't have the S-Class, the X-Class here. It wasn't sold. The X-Class was a bit of a debacle because it was a joint venture between Mercedes-Benz and Nissan, right? And Nissan does have a manufacturing plant here for the Frontier, right? For the Nissan Frontier. So the theory was that they were going to be built together and the X-Class was going to be sold here because Mercedes-Benz has been one of the first manufacturers to actually establish in Argentina all the way back in the early 50s. So it has a pretty long history here. Mostly building trucks. They never really built cars outside very, very few small they just built a pickup truck for 4 years, if I recall, and nothing else. But for the most part, it's all trucks, and not the pickup trucks, just like proper heavy duty trucks. So that fell through thanks to the usual political and economic debacles of this nation. So for some time, Mercedes-Benz actually produced the X-Class here, but didn't sell it here. And they just exported them overseas. That's what they did. I think that's how it went out in the end. So we didn't get the X-Class here, but we had some sort of involvement. So you might as I was telling about cars, so you might think that the Peugeot 208 that we have in here is the same as they have in European countries. That is not true. That is not true at all. This is our Peugeot 208. It has nothing to do with the European car. It's built in Brazil. Yeah, I don't like it whatsoever. I don't think it's a good idea to buy this, but it's the most sold car in the country right now. It's probably thanks to payment plans which they are offering, and since our currency has somewhat stabilized, the country is offering credit again, and there are a lot of pretty good deals for people who can afford them. And more that can afford them, the word will be people who are willing to take the risk. Because imagine getting a credit for a car in a country which is kind of infamous for economic instability. Even if I appreciate the fact that people are willing to say, oh yeah, well, I'm going to put my faith in this country because this and that, and whatever. It's nice. People need that. But a car is a depreciating asset. It's not a home. It's a really risky affair to actually get a credit in the bank or getting in any sort of payment plan or whatever for a car which is going to depreciate like crazy, and even more so when the taxes are reduced and this thing is worth less because, well, most of the cost of this car is taxes. We're talking about a $10,000 car, which is over $20,000. 32 million pesos, which will be, let me do the math again. 32 million pesos. Divided $25,000. $25,000. It's really expensive for what it is. How much time do you keep cars in Argentina? Well, I cannot tell if an average figure, but it will be a long time. People keep their cars for a while, and the worst thing is not only do they keep their cars for a while, they expect that nothing should go wrong. So people don't want to spend people don't want to spend a single coin in maintenance. So in most cases, cars have a pretty long and rough life because people skip on maintenance. They prefer to solve things cheaper than actually pay for the repairs properly, so on and so forth. So they have really rough lives. That much I can tell you. That will be the best way to describe it without getting into specific data. People do change their cars, sure, but it's kind of hard to change your car. First, usually you need to sell your current car or hope that it gets taken as part of the payment and they give you a good rate, which often doesn't happen. So yeah, people use their cars and they live pretty rough lives thanks to the fact that most of people just don't want to maintain them properly. The 208 is not a saint of my devotion, really. And you might see something that just looks cheaper, like this, but this figure is just it's just your first payment or thereabouts. Yeah, you need to. They'll finance the rest, and if you pay this, it's some sort of payment plan to avoid. You should always avoid this. They are selling Chinese cars in Argentina. The Chinese car market is slowly starting to expand. For a really long time, the only Chinese brand that we had was Chery, and we're talking for over 10 years. Because thanks to some dealings that have happened and some friend of a friend situation, the government allowed Chery to come into the country like 10 to 15 years ago. So there they have been the only ones for a long time, but now we're starting to take out Chinese cars. So what's the other suspect? Oh, the Fiat Cronos. The Fiat Cronos is going to be interesting. 2025 Fiat Cronos. Yeah, it's just funny, man. I cannot avoid laughing at this thing. This is not a good looking car whatsoever. This is a really popular car right now. A lot of people buy them because they're cheap and again, good payment plans, good credit plans, all of those things. They're moving. They have been moving a lot of these things, and yeah, this is another. This is another of those plans. I'm gonna look at a different unit. No, you're not gonna get the Kronos because the Kronos is a third world car. Really, it's for Latin America, honestly, and I'm not sure what if it's sold in any other market, but it's a Latin American car. Look at those tiny brakes. Good God. Now I have to admit, it's not the worst car you could buy in this segment. You could buy something like a Logan, which is sold as a Renault Logan here, and it's much worse. The platform is much older. And if you want a small sedan, you could do worse, but it's not a good car. It's not a good car at all. But Fiat here has a really long history of selling cheap cars for entry level. They have been doing this for decades, so they're a part of the Argentinian car culture when it comes to the entry level new cars. They always have been. Yeah, sure. We're gonna look at the Yaris. Yeah, it kind of looks like the Tipo. How about the Etios? But isn't the Etios out of production yet? Uh, the Yaris, I think it's a much better example because they are actually being sold, even if demand is a bit high and you have to wait. But there's a lot of Yaris in the market. Even if it's a bit more expensive than of course, because it's Toyota and it's a bit more expensive, but it's also a bit higher quality than the other competitors, really. What's more popular, diesel or petrol? Petrol, for the most part. Diesel cars have a rocky history here. They were popular for some time, but for most of the time, we had naturally aspirated diesels until Peugeot came with the HDI engines and Volkswagen came up with the TDI engines. So it wasn't until then that we actually that the reputation of diesel engines improved because people didn't like them. They were noisy. They were uncommon. Nobody liked them really. So for the most part, here has been dominated by petrol until those engines arrived and more people decided to dare with diesel cars. But but that created another problem because usually you buy diesel cars to actually save money, as you say, Andrea. However, since the fuel quality in Argentina isn't the greatest, you needed to buy the most expensive diesel available. And the most expensive diesel available had a similar cost to petrol. So there is no point in buying the diesel car if you're going to spend the same amount of money. or you just want to throw your engine away after a year, because yes, those cases have happened. There was a time period where Argentina imported diesel from Venezuela, right? And we're talking about this, 10 to 15 years ago, give or take. We're in 2025, so yeah, 15 years ago, probably a bit more, in which they imported diesel from Venezuela, and the quality was so atrocious that it actually destroyed a lot of diesel engines that were roaming around our streets. So right now that doesn't happen, but the quality of fuel is still subpar, and you still have to be really careful with the fuel station that you go to. So this is a top of the line Yaris, which is a $29,000 car, at least that they're asking for this one. Because, yeah, this is the funny thing about our market, right? Because usually cars are stuck, manufacturers don't really produce as many cars because it just doesn't make sense, or they don't have demand, or whatever. choose whatever reason you want. The important thing here is what follows. In most countries, when you have a car with a license plate already, that car is worth less. Here, because the car exists physically and people can buy it and take it, the car costs more. So that's another bizarre thing that happens in our market. Cars with a license plate cost more than cars without one because the car that you go and reserve at the dealership probably will never come or will take years before you actually get it. So cars with a license plate cost more because people can just take them away immediately. $29,000 for this Yaris. I think that's a bit much still, but yeah, I don't know. Haven't been following this. So I think we have reached a reasonable point to actually start going down the market, because you need around $30,000 to start talking about a new car, give or take. You can get something for less, yes, you can get something for less, obviously. You can get something for more, yes, you can get something for more, but $30,000 to $25,000 is the number for a new car if you want to start talking about new cars. So what will people who don't have that much money will aspire to if they want to get themselves into the world of cars? They want their first car, so to speak. So you need to start going used. And the world of used cars is a really murky and complicated one in this country. However, the easiest bet is going for the cars that have been sold for decades, because guess what? We have cars that have been sold for decades with really few changes. And probably the most first car of our market will be this. '47. He has a Jaguar E-Pace with 163 horsepower diesel from the Vogue. It's a very bad engine. Yeah, oof. The Jaguar and Land Rover lottery is pretty cruel. But yeah, you know, I've been looking at diesels from the first world backup because I'm curious. Thanks to the low emission zones and all of those things, I'm pretty sure that the price of diesels is coming down. But I was looking at diesel Mercedes yesterday, and from a quick search, they don't seem that cheap as I was expecting them to be. So what is this, you might be asking? This is a Fiat 147. In Europe, this thing was known as the Fiat 127, but with minor changes. This thing was produced in the early 1980s all the way to the late 1990s with different names. When it released, it was considered a first car, and many people got them as first cars. Today, in 2024, it's still considered a first car. So let that sink in. 30-something years ago, people were buying the same first cars new than they are buying right now used. Yes, and here it was called the Fiat 147, but if you look at it, it's based off the Fiat 127. Oh boy. It's not a grandpa car here. And for this, they are asking 5 million pesos. It was published a year ago, so yeah, I don't know. But nice ones, people are daring to ask that much, which is around $4,000. $4,000 for this. I wouldn't even pay half, really. I wouldn't even pay half. So we're going to go down a few years and see conditions, and it's also really, since it's one of the most common first cars ever, it's also a really popular platform for modifications. It's a front-wheel drive car, but people modify them mostly for drag racing, so you can see here. And they do all sorts of things. They're from engine swaps to just rebuilding the engine entirely, and you know, the usual. Yeah, this is all modified. It's ridiculously light. 648 kilograms, by the way. This is naturally aspirated. It has been completely modified. $10,000. Yeah, I don't know. So this is the Civic EG6 of Argentina. There are a few candidates for that. But this is one of the candidates, yes. This is one of the ricer cars of choice, for sure. Absolutely. Fiats are one of those. We're gonna get to the Civics probably, yes. There's going to be a lot of this. However, I want to find one in really questionable condition because this is what I want to show. So, this is not in the best condition, we can all agree. Pictures are atrocious. It has a natural gas tank, you know, the gas you use for your kitchen. Yeah, we used to power engines here. It's in a really, really rough shape. These cars, the metal work in them is atrocious, so they all rust, they all bend. The metal work on them is really, really atrocious. It was atrocious when they were new. Imagine 30 years later. So this thing is trashed. This thing is absolutely trashed. And because it's working, in quotation marks, because this is another problem that we have here. Whenever you want to buy a used car, their history is borderline non-existent. They have almost no history whatsoever. Condition is always a massive question mark outside the pictures. And above all, you often encounter really opaque situations like rolled back odometers and accidents which haven't been claimed. So you find cars which haven't resprayed because they crashed and nobody told you about that because there's no way to verify and so on and so forth. That's why I mean when the used car market is really complicated here, because most of the cars, especially cars that are really big sellers, are really prone to this sort of things. Either one of them or all of them together. And hope that you don't get involved in buying a stolen car, which can happen, and that's a pretty big nightmare if you actually get involved in that. Happy belated birthday, Yellowbird. Hey, Brand, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, the GPL conversion. GPL is a bit different, but yes, it's virtually the same. Andrea, it's virtually the same logic. So how much are they asking for this? You might say, oh, they're asking, oh no, little money. No, they're asking almost 2 million pesos, which is a fair chunk of change. Which is over $1,000. It's $1,520 for this asking price. And it's in terrible condition. This thing cannot be used. This thing cannot be used whatsoever. I'm pretty confident that it can't. And look at me, you can even see in this corner, you can even see that this door trim is completely missing. This car is trashed. This car has no value whatsoever. But in here it's a $2,000 car, give or take. And this is not the only example. We're going to see a lot of this. Let me tell you. Example, here's another one. Completely trashed, rotting out, in all sorts of places already on the outside. You might say it's not in Chronicle. I don't know. I mean, look at that. That looks pretty Chronicle to me, and that's even the outside. We don't even know how it is on the floor pans and all of those things which do matter. Look at this. This is completely rotting out. This is not good at all. Interior, oh my god, look, they replaced the door trims with wood, with wood panels. Look at the wood panels because they don't have the door trims anymore. Jesus Christ. I wasn't expecting to find gold here, and here we are. Here we are. We're going to bully the cardboard wood panels because yes, this is not probably even real wood. This is probably just that laminated stuff. Jesus Christ, man. Of course, somebody took a bite on the seat. They were hungry. That looks pretty rough too. It's kind of. I want to see the floor pans. This is where the spare wheel rests, and that spot usually rots. So let me see that. Of course, you don't let me see that. Roof lining. It's not good. But hey, we're probably asking too much out of the wooden panel car, aren't we? The sunshades. The sunshades are stacked one over the other. One over the other. The tires look. Yeah, those tires are going to need changing. Here we are, back to the start. How much do they want for this? 3 million pesos. 3 million with 300,000 pesos. So converted to dollars, that will be. No. No, I missed a 0. Missed a 3. Converted to dollars, that will be $2,640 in a country where the average salary is around 600 to 800. Well, give or take, if you're lucky. So it takes a really long time to actually save for a car. Out of curiosity, how much do they use Polo in Argentina? Depends on the Polo, because we have a Volkswagen Polo, which is a Mercosur car. It's a regional thing, I guess you could call it. Nobody's buying that. That's part of the problem, Senko. Nobody's buying these cars. There's the new Polo here, which I guess you didn't ask, because the Polos that we have for the most part are either the new ones or this Polo. I don't know. This is 2009. That's a bit late. Let's look 2000 before the restyling. This is the Volkswagen Polo for most of us. The Polo Classic, we call them. This is the Polo 4-door that was sold for quite a long time here. They're asking 5 million pesos for this one. Which is around $4,000. CLK 270D for almost 2,000 euros. I would love to own a diesel Mercedes, really. I'll be really happy with that. Yeah, yeah, they're really expensive. The Fiat 127 is quite rare in Italy, but a good example because you're on 2,000 for 2,000 or 3,000 euros. Yeah, that makes sense. But no, cars here are ridiculously expensive. And the worst thing is, we were looking at this one, right, which is completely rotted out. Okay. So how much is a nice one? We already said that a nice one will be around $4,000, give or take. So here's another one which looks nice from the. Yeah, look at this thing. This looks relatively nice. At least it has the proper panels. This looks alright. The pictures are really atrocious. I will take much better pictures, to be honest. Yes, it's Mercado Libre in Argentina. From Spain, I bought a 2002 Bora 1.6, 16 volts. Very happy. Hey, Panrasi, enjoy your car. That's really good. So this is $4,500. It's around. You could probably get it to lower it a little bit if you have the money in hand. But my point is, the price difference between cars which aren't even roadworthy like this thing. Look at that. I even haven't one over the other. This thing shouldn't even be worth half that. And this thing should come down if this if this thing just the net value of this thing is zero, almost. It's only worth for the parts and the engine, really. And this thing, which is in really good condition, you will probably sell it for $3,000. And but they're asking almost $3,000 for this one. So one is wrong. Either this one is wrong or this one is wrong. And my theory is that because people put these terrible condition cars so high, of course the people who have cleaner cars are going to say, oh, my clean car is worth much more because my car is clean, obviously. So you end up you start this endless loop of people who just want to charge absurd amounts of money for cars which aren't worth it, and it never ends. It really never ends. How much for a used car of the 2000s? Well, I was going to head into that. So another popular car will be, if we leave the realm of Fiat, we could say that a Corsa. Chevrolet Corsa. Is that hood scoop even functional? I think they were factory, but I don't think so. So we're just going to look at Corsas until, let's say, 2005. Because we have the Corsa 2 there, because this is really funny. So I'm going to get this out of the way. So this is the second generation Corsa here in Argentina, right? Well, in Brazil as well. The funny thing is, Chevrolet stopped producing this second generation Corsa and went back to this. Is this the one I want? No, this is not the one I want. Damn it. Yes, the Corsa here was sold under Chevrolet, not under Opel. So a few years down the line, Chevrolet went back to this Corsa design and ditched completely the other one, the Corsa 2. I'm going to show you the later ones. They're really, really disgusting. But that's really funny because they ditched the newer design and kept selling the older one, and it became the Corsa Classic. Yeah, $7,000 for a Corsa. Yeah, and these are the ones nobody wants, the saloons. Let me see if I find a hatchback, which is the one everyone wants. Like, here you have a Corsa hatchback. Look, oh, see, this is what I told you. Can you all see this? I'm not sure if you can. Let me look at. Allow me to get a bit creative here. Opening a new tab. Opening a new tab. Allow me to get creative here. We're gonna increase the zoom, and we're gonna go here. Okay, do you see this? Do you see this panel here? This panel. Look at this gap between the bumper, which is almost hanging off the car, and then look at the shade of the multiple shades of white. This is one shade of white. This is one shade of white, and this is a completely different shade of white. This car was crashed. This car was crashed 100%, and nobody's going to tell it was crashed. Look at this. The hood doesn't even close properly here. And here, the hood doesn't even close here. Then you have Opel there. Limited numbers, but most of the European Opel cars here were produced under Chevrolet in Brazil and Argentina and other countries. But the Opel products here were sold and produced by Chevrolet. But yeah, this thing is crashed, and it's probably not even being sold as crashed. Yep, says everything is. The only description that we have is that it has GNC, which is natural gas, and good mechanics, and ready for transfer. Oh, God, I hate this country. Why the cop car rims? Those aren't cop car rims, those are steelies, because most of these cars don't come with proper alloy rims, they come with those wheel covers. And usually once they fall off, people don't bother to replace them, so they leave the steel rims exposed. Yeah, I coughed in my own water. Coughed in my own water, man. That's not good. So we already found the crash car. Beautiful. Here's another one. 6 million pesos, which is... See, this one has the wheel covers. See? That. Look at those. Those are wheel covers. Those aren't rims. Or hubcaps. Yeah, I call them wheel covers. $4,800 for this, by the way. Asking price. No, they didn't even bother. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're going to ask over $5,000 for it anyway. This one has had a few modifications. This is the newer Chevrolet logo. I'm going to show that. Pandas we don't have. Sanderos we absolutely have. Sanderos we have by the ton. This thing has the classic chopped springs in the front because they lower the front end to lift the rear end. It looks really bad. I don't like this sort of thing. And I'm not sure if it's the picture. I want a better picture before I actually release my judgment. No, I think this is another one. I think this is another one. I think this is another one. This shade of blue doesn't really look like this shade of blue, does it? Could be the camera, but I don't buy it. It looks a bit weird. At least it doesn't look like it was crashed. That's for sure. So yeah. Most cars are manuals. Now we're having more automatics, but for the most part, unless you get into specific things, you have manuals. So you can sum in and out control plus and minus. Oh, okay, thank you. I'm doing it the uninformed way. Say this is another $5,000 Corsa from the early 2000s. Again, lower than the front. The front looks a bit wonky here. Oh, okay, another one. Look at this headlight. This is another crash damage sign, without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, look. That's not a girl. Oh, white dash at least. However, I want you to notice something. These cars were so cheap that they didn't have they didn't have a tachometer. They only have a speedometer and temperature gauge and oil gauge. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I know about the border. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Trust me. We still have a long way to go. We're looking at entry-level cars right now. We're going to climb our way into more expensive things. But yeah, this will be the first Cartier courses. However, they were sold until 2015, and this is how they looked. This is the Chevrolet Classic. This is what I meant by Chevrolet kept producing the old car. This is what I meant. It's so low quality. It's painfully low quality. They want almost $10,000 for this thing. Let me tell you. Because it has low mileage. Yeah, but 66,000 kilometers. Can you prove it? It's questionable. Very questionable. But here's one with double the mileage asking the same amount of money almost, give or take. At least this one has rims. At least. It's not much. But yeah, this thing was produced until 2015. Until it was... You know what actually released us from this torture? The fact that we approved a law that made cars which didn't have two airbags and ABS illegal to sell. So many of these early 2000 cars, which were sold for an entire decade without changes, finally stopped being sold in 2015. And for this one, they're asking 9 million pesos, so 9. $7,600, by the way. $7,600 for this thing, by the way. This is a $7,000 car in here. They all hover around that. 8 million pesos. So another one for 10. With 4 pictures. 4 pictures, worse condition than the other 2. And he wants 10 million pesos. Give me a break. See, this is insane. This is what I mean. People charge so much for cars which they're never going to sell at these prices. I mean, here's another one. No, this one's had a ABS and airbag. This 2015 cars. Never mind. Yeah, that's an airbag. I forgot, but yeah, this is the final year, I think, anyway. But yeah, they had airbags and ABS. Never mind. My bad. Do people lease to get better cars and spend less? No, leasing doesn't exist here. So this is another of those first car. There's a lot published, but... So another one, infamous car of the first car list is the Volkswagen Gol. Not Golf, Gol. Gol. And this thing has been produced for decades. Literal decades. By example, here you have one from 1995. This is a G2. It looks pretty clean. That much I'll give you. Looks really clean. It's a 1.6 engine. Interior isn't the best. I mean, it's really pretty, but I don't like the design. I think it looks... I don't like the interior design of these cars. The seats are pretty nice, though, but in style at least. But these aren't comfortable cars. These aren't enjoyable cars. This is the cars people settle with here. Not the cars people really want. Something to... Oh, look, this one has the original cassette player. That's near impossible to find with these cars. Good on the owner, by the way. So, this is an immaculate car. I cannot argue with the condition of this car. This is really good condition. 78,000 kilometers. Functional air conditioning units. Everything is sold everything is in conditions, in theory. However, for this car, they want $7,000. $7,000. Which is... Well, $7,000. My bad. AP Alta Performance. This is another car which is infamous because people modify them to no end. You find all sorts of crazy things done to these cars. But this is a pristine one. Let's just go on... Last I did 2005. Let's just until 2005. And we're talking about first cars. Average NPC first cars. That's what I want to get out of the way now. Which cars you could consider for average NPC cars? Example, this is $3,000. $3,500. And it doesn't look half bad, if I'm honest. This is actually reasonable considering our market. I like the color. Oh, that's a bit of a rust spot. The color is really pretty. Or it's the detailing though. The detailing helps. The detailing helps. Renault 9, no, Renault 9 is not a good starter car. They're all trashed, and I haven't seen a Renault 9 which is well, I mean, depends, but the ones I know have all sorts of mechanical issues. Really, I don't think the Renault 9 is a good car to start off. It's one I will skip. Renault 12 is probably more reasonable just because there's more, but the Renault 12 has that problem which people think it's collectible, and it's not. And this one has an exhaust, $3,500 for a car from 1995 in okay condition. Still a lot, though. I wouldn't pay that, but considering our markets, this is a reasonable seller considering our market. Pretty reasonable seller. The ones which nobody wants, though, is the diesel ones. This is a diesel Gold, by the way. 1.9 diesel engine, naturally aspirated diesel. Yeah, these ones are a pretty hard sell, but because they have escaped the petrol public who wants to chop their springs, put a straight pipe exhaust, and do all sorts of unnecessary things to them, because no matter how much performance you throw at these things, it's not going to be a fast car. You can find unmolested diesels for relatively cheap. This is a 2001 Gol. This is slightly newer. This is the G3 Gol, probably the best one. For $5,000, I mean, if the mileage is real, it has 80,000 kilometers. That's not bad. If it's real, we're always talking about if these things are real, but yeah, it's all being collectible. Oh, I will show you the prices real soon. You'll see the prices of what people consider. People consider them collectible. Oh, this is a good example to show. So there was a performance version of the Gol for some time called the Gol GTI. It had a fuel-injected engine, a 2 liters fuel-injected engine, and the highlight of these cars was the Recaro interior. These are Recaro seats, which are really, really pretty. However, this one has a tear on it, a crack on it, so good luck fixing that. If the interior in this car is damaged, then that's a substantial hit on their value. But this is one of the hot hatches of the Argentinian market. This is a performance car, like it or not. 116 HP, and then you have a really, really rare 16 bulb version. There's also a previous generation Gol GTI. So let's see if I can find one. We had the C3 for quite some time, though. Yeah, the C3 was a popular car here. But most of that, there's not that many survivors left. But yeah, the C3 is still, I mean, not the original one, but we still have the C3 on sale here. We're gonna get into that. Into the bodas and all of that. Well, I cannot find the G2 GTI for reasonable prices, it seems. So this is another of the first car contenders of the Argentinian market. I mean, I'm talking about the cars which most people, normal people, look for. There are more. There are a lot more options, for sure. Yeah, we have the Indian C3 here, Luca. Exactly that one. Exactly that one is the one which is being sold. Do you have those kind of people that buy about 595s and go around to make noises in car parks with the popping exhaust? Yes and no. Because the 595 here, let me show you how much it costs, first of all. And about 595 is a $30,000 car. This is a $27,000 car. A 2019 unit, they're asking that much. Yes, this is a $30,000 car in my market, by the way. There are cheaper ones. Of course, there are cheaper ones if you go a few years down, but allow me to set the line here. There aren't much cheaper ones. I don't think this is a legit knife 595. Is it? 595 Turismo. So the point is, this car is expensive here. This car is pretty expensive here. It's not an affordable car. You have a $20,000 one here. Well, $18,000 here. So these things are actually kind of looked after because they have value. So they aren't completely trashed. The people who want to trash cars usually buy the cheaper cars, like the Golds, the Fiats, the Corsas, all of those things. They also buy motorbikes. The most annoying thing that we have here is people who buy these things. The person you are describing with the Abarth here doesn't have enough money for a car. So what do? They buy a motorbike. They buy one of these things. They buy these things. They buy these scooters, they straight pipe them, and they put a switch on them that cuts off the injection and makes just loud bang noises like they're just firing a gun, but not really. So those are the type of people that do those things with the Abarths here, because they can't afford cars, they buy these things. And this is also the preferable transportation for our local thieves and the like. So for us, this is the vehicle with the worst reputation all around. It's not a car, it's this piece of trash here, the 110cc motorbike. This is what the absolute bottom of the barrel of our society buys. Buy? You sure they buy them? I'm trying to be kind here, but no, most of them are stolen. Most of them are stolen. Most of them are stolen. This one are new. Let me show you a used one. Questionable condition. Used. Please tell me there's one. Please tell me there's one in questionable condition. Please tell me there's one in questionable condition. I'm gonna have to try hard to find one, it seems. But yeah, what a lot of people do, let's just grab a random one. They remove all the plastics, and of course, you just because they remove the plastic, the license plate, they're pretty much untraceable. And yeah, that's the preferred method of transportation for local thieves and the worst of society. We just come here and they just go bam, bam, bam. They just press on that switch which cuts off the injection to just make loud bang noises, and God, they're so annoying. They're so annoying. They're the worst. They are the absolute worst. So yeah, when your country is poor enough that people are... I once heard a quote which said, like, you can tell how good a country is doing by the amount of motorcycles against cars that you have on the road. Well, we have a ton of these things here and less cars, so yeah. I'm not stepping into Facebook Marketplace. I appreciate my sanity. So we looked at entry-level cars. I mean, I can keep looking at entry-level cars. But we looked at entry-level cars. We looked at the worst... We made a detour to actually get off my system the fact that these people who drive bikes are the worst thing in the country. But I guess the next thing to actually talk about will be performance cars. And that's the one of the most complicated areas in my opinion, because performance cars are so overpriced. So overpriced. What car do you drive though? And what realistic goal of car to buy you have set for yourself? I don't drive anything because I just cannot afford them, and right now my financial situation doesn't allow me to buy a car. So, and it's not like this is new. I mean, I worked for people for like what 3 to 4 years, and I couldn't never ever save for a car. And I did YouTube, and I cannot save for a car, and I cannot save for a car whatsoever. So I don't know, nothing. I will show you the cars I would like to buy, sure, but we're gonna do that later. However, if we talk about performance cars, we have to start here. This is going to be pretty funny. You may be saying, "Yeah, but why the hell is a Jet a performance car?" Well, first of all, in our country, it's not called Jetta, it's called Bora, Volkswagen Bora. And this is the Mark IV generation Bora. And first of all, it was the first, and well, not entry level, but non-premium car, which was offered with a relative performance engine in the shape of the 1.8 turbo from the Volkswagen Audi group. You might be saying that is a performance engine. Yes, in a country where most cars don't have over 100 horsepower, this thing was considered a performance car. And thus, this car created a whole ecosystem around it of people who have treated it as God's gift to Earth, and they just mollify them to no end. Those who can, those who there's the people who actually aspire to own one of these things, and then there's all of us who actually love these things because the owners of these cars are absolutely unbearable and think they have a Porsche when in reality they have just an overhyped Volkswagen. Yes, and this one is an automatic, so it has managed to survive and escape the atrocious owners because it's an automatic. Most of them don't want automatic; they want the manual. So this is it. This is it. You may be wondering, how much are they asking for one? They are asking $12,500 for this. This is Mercedes-Benz money. We're going to look at those in a little bit, but this is Mercedes-Benz money. Do owners straight buy them? No, because it's a turbo car, but they do exhausts, and yeah, you find some of them straight buy, but most of the time you just find them lowered with exhausts and performance chip, really. And this is the later car. This is the later restyling. By example, the disease is so strong that it has to spread over diesel cars. This is a 1.9 diesel, and they are asking $11,000. Nobody in their right mind wants a diesel. But oh, they put the turbo rims, they lower it a little, and boom, $10,000 car. It's a turbo diesel. Nobody wants this. And it has the shit interior with like trim seat with cloth seats. Doesn't even have leather because they didn't offer leather with this. I think only the 1.8 had leather. Yeah, the prices of these cars are insane, absolutely insane. But I want to show you like the fact that the prices for these cars are so out of control that people charge insane money for cars that have no value whatsoever because nobody wants the diesel one. Nobody wants this, the naturally aspirated one. This thing is a potato. This thing is a complete potato. Again, nobody wants this. Again, cloth seats, no performance, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. 10 million pesos, which is around yeah, we'll check it out. But it doesn't matter. The point remains. Had one border boy almost crash into me. He ran a red light at 70 kilometers per hour as I was about to cross. Yeah, oh no, literal, that's exactly how they behave, and that's the most tame behavior of this subspecies. It's insane. Here's another one. I want to find an early one. I want to find an early one. There's another one with the without an automatic gearbox. Again, leather and automatic. The only survivors are the automatic cars. There's no question whatsoever. Not to get much into it, but if you end up having more success with this channel, it will teach you to pay more than an average job in Argentina. I know how this stuff works, but I assume, I mean, depends on the amount of views you have, really. Because, I mean, I could say that until my obliged break, thanks to my PC breaking and other things, my channel was relatively successful for YouTube standards. Considering that over 90 something percent of channels just never take off and mine took off, so yeah, depends on your perspective of that, but to put it this way, a good job in Argentina will pay you around $1,000 to $1,500 per month. That's a really good salary in here, and I'm not gonna get that. I would love to get into jobs into the car industry here, but it's not open for me. I tried, believe me. I absolutely tried to get into the car industry here. I sent resumes, I worked for people, I did everything I could do on that route and never got anywhere. So I don't know what to do anymore, really. I really don't know what to do anymore, really. Oh, I missed super chats. I'm really sorry. Bora boys, we meet again, says Juanma. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yes, we do meet again. We're going to continue talking about these things. And Luca, thank you so much for the reales. I appreciate that. Out of curiosity, how much they are charging for a 2010s Volkswagen Beetle TSI in Argentina? That's an interesting car because I was watching at them recently to answer a question. I'm gonna look at this new Beetle. Yeah, a new Beetle TSI. This is not a TSI. This is a 2.5. It's an inline 5 engine, by the way. I feel like I just had to mention that. Do I have to look them up as the Beetle? I always get mixed. Yeah, I have to look at those as the Beetle. Right. Okay, let's look at this thing. The 1.4 TSI Beetle. It is one for 20 million pesos, well, 22 million pesos with the DSG box. Yeah, that's around $20,000. This is one, so I found them for a bit less, I think. This is almost $17,000. 16,800,000. $6,800 for this. There are a few cheaper ones. Let this be the reference. Let this be the reference. Here's one for $15,000. Here's one for 15 million pesos. Lowered. I don't know. This thing had a rough life. Lowered. Skip. No, 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 no. We're out of here. We don't want trash cars. Why this one is so cheap? Ah, this is like a finance. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. $17,000. 18,000. 17. 16. 15. This is 16, really. I like the color. I don't know why. I like it. I don't like... I wouldn't buy this car, though. I mean, it has its charm. It has its charm. Yes, these are all 1.4s. I mean, for a 2.0, we'll have to look a bit harder for a 2.0. Here's a 2.0. $22,000 from 2014. This is really expensive. This is really, really expensive. There's a 2.0 TSI. 2 liters turbo, for those who don't know. This is a 2 liters turbo engine with around 210 horsepower. 211, I think it is, the claim. There are really... people modify these engines a lot. $22,000, by the way. For a 2014 one. Gonna keep going down. Let's see what else is in there. There's a 30... okay. Here's a $37,000 one. What the fuck, man? What the fuck, man? $37,000 for this. Are you insane? Are you insane? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. $37,000 for this. Yeah, sure. Put the Ferrari in the picture. Put the Ferrari in the picture to tap me. Yeah, right. It's probably $1 million for that 458 you have in there. 2019, 40,000 kilometers. Yeah, they're pretty much trying to sell them at Porsche prices, without a doubt. That's how it works here. Welcome to the performance world in Argentina. And cabriolets? Oh god, don't even get me started on cabriolets. Convertibles, or cabriolet, however you want to call it. We call them cabriolet here, but convertibles are the worst of the worst. They are usually over 100% of the price of a coupe or anything else. They are ridiculously expensive and they have no use. Most people don't want them because they are a safety risk. They are dangerous. Nobody wants a convertible. Oh, I like the interior though, never mind. But nobody wants a convertible here. So the market is so limited that they sit for ages. How much for an earlier Beetle? Sure, we can look at that because I found the 2.5s, so I want to get into the 2.5 engine, so it's a good excuse. New Beetle. These are the earlier cars, right? However, there's a specific model that I'm interested on. This thing. The New Beetle Sport. You may say, why? Why do you care so much about this car? Because this car has a 2.5 inline 5 engine, 2.5 liters inline 5 engine, naturally aspirated with 170 horsepower. It's a pretty interesting engine, actually. It sounds pretty good with an exhaust. It's not exactly fast, but it's a pretty nice engine. And this engine was offered in another car, which we're going to get into, but what about the BMW Z3? The BMW Z3 is pretty much one of the worst offenders in the Argentinian car market. I'm going to show you one real quick because we're going ahead of schedule, but sure, I'll show you the Z3 to get it out of the way. My example, look at this, $35,000 for a 1.9, the worst engine out of them all. 1.9 engine, the trashiest one, the one nobody wants. $35,000. Yes, there are Miatas in here, Kiryu, which is kind of similar to this. Yes. 2.8. $50,000. $50,000. This one was brought a few years ago. That's up. $50,000 for this. We're going to get into this rabbit hole later. Just you wait. We're gonna get back into the more reasonable things for my country first, but give me a bit. We'll get here, I promise you. So back into schedule, as I was talking previously. There's there's this inline 5 engine which is featured in one of the most popular quotation mark performance cars that we have in here. So here's the thing. Where is I need one? We need one. Where are you? Okay, here you are. This is a Volkswagen Bento. You might say, but this is not. Why is it called a Bento? It's a Mark V Jetta. Do you remember the other Mark IV Jetta that I showed you previously, also known as the Volkswagen Bora? Well, Volkswagen had the brilliant idea for a couple of years to sell both the Bora and the Bento, two generations of the same car, at the same time in our market, with different engines. And so, the top of the line Bento or Mark V Jetta here, at release, had this 2.5 inline 5 engine with around 170 horsepower. And yes, this is considered an entry performance car. So after a few years, Volkswagen started offering the good one, the one everybody wants. Let me see if I can find one here. You're gonna make my life pretty miserable, aren't you? You're gonna make my life pretty miserable, yes. Where are you? Here. Let's just go 2009. Sure. Here you are. After a couple of years, Volkswagen introduced this. The 2 liters TSI, TFSI, the 211 horsepower engine. This is the one everybody wants. This is the engine everybody wants for these things. And this is the top of the range with the 2-liter turbo, considered the performance variant. This is the car pretty much every aspiring racer gets if they have a bit of money, and proceeds to cause mayhem in the local roads and think there are more than everybody else because the average commuter cannot keep up with it, but anything decent can keep up with it. So yeah, this is the average performance car in Argentina, without a doubt. This is it. This is it. And how much do they want for one? $12,900 for this one. This is a DSG. This is the auto box, which nobody wants because it's not a double clutch. So that translates to $10,000. $10,000, yes. What the driving school uses? All sorts of commuter cars, really. From Corsas to newer cars. I mean, when I did driving school, I was driving a Corsa, and then I just drove another entry-level Chevrolet, but not much outside that. Here's another one, another 2.0. This is a manual one. This is the one everybody wants, and they want $14,000 for this. $2.5 was very sought after here by people wanting to tune the Jetta/Bento. It's nearly impossible to find a 2.5 TSI that wasn't modified. Hey, Juanma, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that again. 2.5 engine. Yes, the 2.5 is really, really nice. So this is a nice two-car garage. Look at the E36 compact and the 2-liter manual Jetta. I like those. I like your train of thought. I don't like how much you're asking. So for a few years, then we had this. Then they restyled this car, and it looked like this. Let's do 2018. 2018, sure. Then they restyled it, and they offer the same engines, the 2.0-liter turbo, which is this is the restyling. It's not as pretty. I prefer the early cars, and rumor says that they are better quality, the earlier cars, than these ones. But yeah, $17,000. $17,000. They also offer the 2.5. Yes, here's another 2.5. It's not the prettiest, personally, but just expensive. I wouldn't pay so much for this. It's not a car I dislike. It's not a car I dislike, but it's a car that has just gone so overhyped that I just cannot justify the prices anymore. I cannot justify the prices anymore for this thing. So I wouldn't get one if I had the money. I will get something completely different, really. And they have gotten so notorious that they attract unwanted attention. So yeah, it's not a car for me. E36 goes for the same as the, yeah. That we're going to get into the German cars, the nice ones. Yes, I think the worst Mercado Libre seller that I hate the most has to be the ones that sell a Midas car from the 80s, 90s for 3 to 4 times what it's worth, just because it has low mileage and looks clean. Oh yeah, we actually encountered those. We were looking at the 147 Fiat 147s. What will be the top of the line of the Bento, which is the performance icon? Will be the GLI, of course. Of course, it has to be the GLI. Let's find an older one because these are all new ones, and I don't care for the new ones. Here it is. This is a new in quotation marks. This is the 2018 GLI. It still has the same 2.0 turbo engine, 211 horsepower, but it has a few sporty aesthetical things, which for some reason make it cost twice what the normal one should cost. And oh yeah, the red trim, ooh, pretty. Yeah, right. Said no one ever. My god. My god. Do you get the Jetta wagon or the Passat CC? We got Vento wagon this generation. We got them for a few years. And we also had the Passat CC, yes. I really like the Passat CC, actually, but this is $39,000. You could buy a new car for this in the US. I'm certain. $39,000 for a 2018 car with low miles. Here is a more reasonable one. 30 million pesos, which is... let's just translate. I'm sorry for taking so long, but I'm doing this on my phone, so it's easier. $24,000. $24,000 for this. Pretty much a glorified Jetta. Oh, but it has red stitching. It makes it go 10 kilometers faster in a straight line, you see? Yes, they sold the Volkswagen Scirocco, and the Scirocco is probably the worst. The Scirocco is probably the worst offender. If you think these cars were bad, the Bentos are bad, look at the Scirocco. The Scirocco is the worst offender out of them all. Because, I don't know, people think that just because a car has 2 doors in here, they can charge double what it's worth. This is a 2.0 Scirocco, 2 liters. Same engine as the previous Jetta, by the way. 2 liters. It comes with 2 sets of frames, I guess. This is a GTS. It's probably yeah, this is a GTS. This is a sporty trim. There aren't too many of these, but still. $35,000 for a 2016 car with 70,000 kilometers. Or so they claim. The Scirocco rabbit hole. Yeah, the Scirocco rabbit hole. We're going to be here for a while. Because I hate this car with a passion because of what it represents here. I hate this car with a passion because everybody thinks they have, I don't know, like they think they have a Boxster or something. They just have a Volkswagen, for crying out loud. $27,000 for this. The R badge is fake. It is not a Zero car. $27,000 for this. 2 liters. 1,100 kilometers. Yeah, they're all pristine. Yeah, right. You tell me. Again, look, this is at the 1.4, the worst engine, and they also want $20,000, right? They want the same as for the blue one, and it's a 1.4. It's the engine. It's the small engine, but no, because it looks fast. Quotation marks. They just charge these absurd premiums for them. It's just insane, man. This car is insane. Absolutely insane. Nobody can buy this. The only people who buy this are drug dealers. Literally. The only people who buy these cars are drug dealers. And they're all trashed. They are all absolutely trashed. They all have really rough lives because people use them for performance use. Well, they think they have performance, but they don't. Here's another one. $40,000 for a GTS. $40,000. Yeah, the people who get the cosmetic packages for the small engine, yeah, that people are atrocious. They are so dumb. They are so dumb. They never sold them in Brazil. Interesting. I thought they did. I could swear they did, but they did sell them here. And yeah, they're an obtainium. I mean, they're not an obtainium because they didn't sell enough. They're an obtainium because people charge Audi money. You can totally buy an Audi for this. I'm not joking. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is a $45,000 Audi S4. It's a bit high on miles. Yes, it has 100,000 kilometers. This is an Audi S4. This is the only one for this price. Yes. But it's almost the same price as that Sirocco. V6 twin turbo, by the way. Completely different car. Completely different car. $45,000. Or you can get the $41,000 Sirocco. Your choice. Here's another one. This is 2012. This is a few years down the line, but again, $42,000. Same money as the Sirocco. Same money as the Sirocco. Does this put into perspective how absolutely insane those people are? Or do I need to try a bit harder? How much are they charging for a Hyundai Veloster? You see, the Veloster wasn't so common. The Veloster isn't so common, so it's hard to get accurate. But for a performance one, they want $52,000. For a Veloster N, they want $52,000 here. $30-something thousand in the rest of the world. $52,000 here. Look for Imprezas. They're all shit spec and they cost an absolute fortune. The rest of the relatively boring Velosters, but yeah, Velosters are pretty expensive for what they are. I like them, but they're really expensive for what they are. Hyundai being an importer, they just fell into the taxation bracket, so the cars just were completely ravaged by taxes and they're just unaffordable. Super Imprezas. The Super Impreza here it's probably one of the worst offenders because here you have they're all like this, and you might say, "Oh, this is clean," but they're all shit spec Imprezas. Like this is a GL, naturally aspirated, but they want like $8,000 for this because it's clean. I don't think the Veloster is a bad car compared to what's sold on Latin America, really. This is the problem with this car. I mean, this is ridiculously clean. I'm not arguing with the condition. But they are all these naturally aspirated shit spec cars, which nobody really wants. Nobody really wants this entry-level cars. People want the performance variants. How much they're asking for performance variants? Well, $70,000 for a 2008 STI. Holy shit. $70,000 for a 2008 STI. Let that sink in. Holy shit. Holy shit. I'm not sure how I'm still alive, really. I'm not sure. I really don't understand why I am still alive suffering here. There aren't too many impresses for sale here. This is a 2012 WRX. This is not an STI. This is a WRX. $65,000. $65,000 for a WRX. Not an STI, just a WRX. Yeah, it's modified. Yeah, sure, yeah, whatever. Nobody cares. They don't add value. You're gonna keep this until your children sell it for drug money. Believe me. Yeah, this Japanese cars are the worst offenders for this, by the way. You have all of these specs which nobody wants because they're so entry level and they don't have the cool engines. But the really nice ones, the ones everybody actually wants, are completely insane, unaffordable. I mean, you can look at this. We were looking at the average performance car before we sidetrack, right? So we can go back into that. So we'll look at Bentos. I explained the Bora Bento thing, which is probably the most interesting side note out of that. So yeah, I think it's a good time. I think it's a good time to actually start talking about the cars that I will consider. Seriously, I think everyone understands where I am standing right now. And they know the prices somewhat. They understand how atrocious this market is. So I'm going to start talking about the cars I will consider. So anything with performance aspirations is completely out of my list because everything which has an inch of performance is impossible to afford. The only thing I will consider if I was a rational being will be this for a performance car. If I was a rational person and I wanted something with performance, I will look at one of this. This is the Renault Sandero RS. This thing has a 2-liter engine up front, naturally aspirated, with 150 horsepower. If I wanted to have a performance car and I didn't care about the quality of the interior and nothing else, I just wanted performance to go into a track, this will be my car. This will be my option. They are actually really good cars for track use. So I will actually look for one of these in relative good condition. Because you can find them at interesting prices, really. This one is a bit expensive because it's one of the later run cars. They ended up they stopped production on 2020. But they can go a few years down the line and find interesting prices, I guess. $15,000. They're still a bit pricey, to be honest, though. They're still a bit pricey, to be honest. But they work. This car works. There's no arguing that. You can find parts. People can work on them. They are fun to drive. They are pretty good driving cars. I will actually look at this if I was a rational person and I wanted a performance car. But quite frankly, I don't want a performance car because I'm not willing to make the sacrifices a car like this demands. And you may say, what kind of sacrifices? Personally, I just don't want a car with a bad interior. If you can find a Civic GTI or sedan SI that isn't pimped the hell out, they are worth it too. Yeah, but that's the problem, see? That's the problem. They are all trashed. They are all trashed, and they want... this is modified. Yeah, this is all modified. Get out of here. But your engine tuning doesn't increase the price of the car. $13,000 for this. This is a 2008 car, and yeah, I mean, look at that. The fake art badge, the fake red badge is a sign of abuse. 100%. Lower, another sign of abuse. Yeah, another red badge, another sign of abuse. This car has been trashed all throughout its life. The shifter, another sign of abuse. Yeah, this thing had a really rough life. All of these have had really rough lives. There aren't many around. There aren't that many around, as you can see. There's very few of them. There are around 50. They cost around the same money the Sandero RS they ask costs. So, to be fair, I wouldn't even consider a Civic Si here. They're more expensive parts are more expensive, everything is more expensive, and you're buying travel. You're buying a travel car. It's like you're just buying a car which has been after traumatic experience after traumatic experience. It's not going to be good for you. How much for a DS3? DS3 is okay. The earlier ones with the THP, but again, those are kind of a risky car because the THP has a reputation for being a grenade engine. I like the DS3. I personally really like the DS3. But I know it's not for everyone. And the risk of the engine is just too big. The risk of the engine blowing up is just too big. Even if it's not all of them, it's only the earlier cars. I really like the design of these cars. They want $12,500 for this one. Should be alright. Should be worth looking into. Yeah, you can find them. You can find a few DS3s for interesting prices. Here's a red one. Looks alright. I like the contrasting roof. I like the design of the DS3. I seriously do. It's a car that I will get my hands on if I have to, maybe, but I don't know. It's just not the type of car that I'm aiming for. It's just not the type of car that I'm aiming for. We're gonna get to the type of cars that I was aiming for. We were going to look into those, but we're sidetracked again. I like this shade of blue. I really do like this shade of blue. $11,000. So yeah, there are DS3s, but entering this performance car market, I will avoid all of those. But what do I want? If I had to just save for a car, which cars will I aim for? That's going to be interesting, but when I show you why, when I show you the prices, you're going to understand why. So there are a lot of cars which have demand, and people are able to charge insane amounts of money because those cars have demand. You know, the average commuters, the average SUVs, the average pickup trucks. Then you have in the performance segment the cars people want because, you know, performance, they're relatively common from brands they offered in here. So those things also have a ton of demand. So prices are insane. However, there's a segment of cars which people are terrified of owning because they think they're going to be ridiculously expensive on maintenance. And while that is correct, yes, there are going to be more expensive in maintenance. The reality is that maintaining a car here isn't cheap whatsoever. So you don't save that much when you start to look at premium brands, in quotation marks, of course, yeah. So when you start looking at cars by, say, Mercedes-Benz, by example, and we put a ceiling of $15,000, which is the ballpark that we were moving earlier on, you start to find a lot of interesting things. By example, this one has a lot of kilometers, sure. But this is a B6. This is a B6 with an automatic box. It wouldn't be the car that I will aim for, but it's a much better offering than all of the other cars combined. 230,000 K. Yes, you're going to start to see those numbers if you go into the higher end cars. And talking years, I mean, by example, for the DS, they were asking similar prices than this and similar years. Sure, this has way more kilometers, but it's all around, it's a better car. And because people are terrified of these cars and they're a bit more expensive to maintain in like insurance, road tax costs, and all of those things, they're a bit harder to sell. These cars don't have much public, even if you will think about it. Honda Legends are ridiculously hard to find. There's very few of those. Passats, yeah, Passats you could find, but again, they're asking Mercedes-Benz money, and they're not the same quality as a Mercedes-Benz. So yeah, you could go down a few years. Personally, I will go down a few years. That one will be too new for me. But then you have cases like this. I mean, yes, this is a clean W202, but they want $10,000 for this, and it's not worth $10,000 whatsoever. It's some kind of rough condition, to be fair. This is a car that I will aim for, W202 by example. With a reasonable price, I will totally be interested in buying one of these cars. But not this one, and not for this price. Not at all, whatsoever. Because again, people are terrified of these cars. They think, oh, really expensive. No, I'm just gonna buy the Volkswagen, which is going to cost me the same, and parts aren't too cheap, aren't much cheaper either, believe me. And mechanics aren't much cheaper either, believe me. So yeah, you don't save anything. It's just a matter of preference. I don't think so that it's gonna be harder to get parts. There's just so many of these cars around that parts are going to be imported nonetheless. Parts are already imported, I mean. So if they keep removing taxes for parts and the like, it's not going to be too bad. Okay, this is a side track. There's no way I will be able to afford this, but look at this coupe. Look at this thing. Tan interior. Shame about the automatic box. Tan interior. It's the inline 6 variant. It's a 300C. This is a beautiful car. Beautiful, beautiful car. They want $15,000. I think it's a bit high. I think it's a bit high. We're gonna get into BMW. Yeah, we're gonna get into BMW. We are absolutely going to get into BMWs. And there are a few suspects on BMW. They wanted to... I think Mercedes-Benz does a better job at presenting my point, because historically they have sold way more cars than BMW and Audi combined here. The Mercedes-Benz is the premium, in quotation marks, brand here. Again, this is $13,000. I'm not sure if I will pay $13,000 for this. It's a manual though. There's very few manuals here, but it's a bit much considering the fact that you could get a V6 or a bit less with a bit more miles, really. See, this is also a problem. I mean, this is also a problem. This is exactly what I mean. I mean, look, $13,000 for a 97 car, which with over 200,000 kilometers. You might be telling me, oh yeah, condition is excellent. Yeah, condition is good. But there's no way this is a $13,000 car when you can get a 2008 with almost the same mileage for this amount of money. There's no point. No point whatsoever. We're gonna get into BMW soon. But again, this is a car that I will be all over it. W2 is totally up there on my list of will buy cars. Let's continue. Let's see if there's another one for this money. E46s depends on the car. I've seen this one. This one, we're not looking at this one because the price is tempting, but the car is in bad condition. Mechanically, the injection system has been replaced by a carburetor, so no, big no. This is another car that I would like, a W201. I will love a W201, but they are kind of, I wouldn't say hard to find. They just rarely appear for the right price with a manual box. That's the problem. And yeah, I will like one with a manual box. That's probably my biggest roadblock. I will like one with a manual box. This one is a bit expensive, really. Again, they are asking way too much money. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of A classes. I don't want an A class. I don't want an A class. Look, I mean, here's another one. C280 for $14,000. And look, oh, look, it has brown leather. That's insane. That's insane. This is a really cool car. How much they're asking? $14,000. It's a bit... It's okay. It's okay considering that it's a 280 with the P6 and the leather stands out. And if the mileage is real, that's pretty good mileage too. Genuinely infuriating how many good cars are below 4 to 5,000 K. Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah. But yeah, the problem of this car is the problem of these cars is the fact that people, they think they can ask fortunes for cars. It's like, oh, there's a 2010 car which is asking $10,000 and mine is slightly cleaner. Oh, I can ask 13 for my 5-year-older car and with lesser spec, and it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Yes, the car is clean. The car is really, really pretty. But it's not worth this. I can buy a newer generation car for this and similar mileage. So this is overpriced. Again, this is the biggest problem that you face with the premium, well, the German brands, that the prices are all just convoluted together, and it's really hard to split them apart and find the right car for the right price. It takes a bit of work. There's an S-Class here. Not gonna look into that. I'm looking for a specific car. Again, this is another one, just overpriced, ridiculously overpriced. This is really overpriced, but I don't know, I feel things for this interior. I seriously feel things for this interior. I mean, just look at it. There is no regional car that has an interior similar to this, let me tell you. And you're going to be paying a similar amount for the high-end Volkswagens and things like that. Yeah, the new car prices are a part of the problem for the used car prices, but I'm not sure if I will pay this. I'll probably pay 12. 12 I mean, it's still a lot. But considering the spec, I'm willing to make the sacrifice. It's a really, really good spec. Yes, you're going to see a lot of A classes. You're going to see a lot of A classes. I mean, this is another car that I will be all over. The W210 is another car that I will be all over. These C classes are really, really good. People don't like this front. I personally like this front. I have no problems with it. This is a 320, which is a B6. And this is dark blue. This thing has a bit of a questionable condition. There are bumps here. Yeah, I mean, I have my doubts, but the price is tempting, and it has a blue interior, blue exterior, blue interior, really good color combination. I love these cars. I absolutely adore them. When I was a children, right, I had two W210s. I had a green saloon like this and a metallic blue wagon. They were so cool cars. Sadly, they broke and I threw them away like an idiot. Stupid things you do as a children. $7,000. They're asking $7,000 for this, which, if it's mechanically sound and it's not going to eat a lot of money in maintenance after purchase, might be a good price. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on the condition. It has a, and if the mileage is real. You never know. You have to be really careful. Yeah, I mean, compared to all of these C classes and the like, they're asking double for a new car. Pretty much. This is one which I also will love. A W124 is another car that I will adore to get my hands on. And this is an interesting one. This is a really pretty one. It has a few details there. You have to look them over. Seriously, look them over. It's a black interior. With a manual transmission, this thing with a manual transmission automatically allows me to ignore the sin of the boring interior, and, well, it has a missing mirror too, so that's another problem. Yeah. It's also, I think it's an inline 6, if I read properly. It's leather, by the way, leather interior. Yeah, this is an inline 6. It's a big engine with a manual. And they want $8,000. It's an E260. Yeah, it's the inline 6 engine. It's a 92, so 92 is the year where electrical wiring issues begin. So that's another thing to consider. I think it's a bit expensive because the condition isn't good. It's actually mid-tier. I will say this is more a $6,000 car, to be honest. But this is another car that I will totally be all over. Totally be all over. This is a really good price for a W190, for a 190, W21. This is a really nice car from the pictures. This is another that I will be all over with. It's an automatic, this one, sadly. That's really a shame, that the fact that this is an automatic, but this is insanely clean. I don't know how this car didn't sell already. There must be something else lurking around. Because they are asking, let me do the math. They're not asking much. They're asking $4,600. You could buy this at a Fiat 147. This is a pretty good price. And I think I see the problem. I think the problem is that it was converted to run on LPG or natural gas, however you want to call it. So that's something against it. Yeah, it has the purification. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, but it looks relatively clean. That's another one that that's another car that I love, the W21. It's a diesel C-Class with, oh, the paint is all trashed. No, I'm not bothering with that. So you start to see the point, right? You can find a lot of, you can sometimes find reasonable cars compared to the insane prices, right? Because the reality is the average cars here are of lower quality. There's no way around it. And sure, these cars might be slightly older, but their quality is better because they're made for other markets. It's not the brand. It's not that Mercedes-Benz is the be-all end-all in quality. It's just the fact that these cars, because they are imports, they aren't made for our market. They are made for other markets, like European and North American markets. So since we get the same import cars from there as they do, the quality is relatively the same. Therefore, the standard of everything is just higher. They stand the test of time a lot better. Everything is much better. So you're buying a better car for relatively less money. You have other problems. Yes, you do have other problems. Mainly the fact that sometimes, depending on Mercedes-Benz doesn't have this problem, but other brands do. It's harder to find parts for certain brands. But let's say Mercedes-Benz and BMW. BMW are also pretty solid. So I'm going to look again at the similar ranges that we were moving for the cars that I have in my country. $15,000. Again, this is an E60 M5 series. 530i, naturally aspirated. This thing is a beautiful, beautiful car. I absolutely adore this, but they are a bit too expensive for me, even if I had the money. I mean, there's no way we'll be able to buy one of these. This is an automatic, sadly. $15,000. Bit expensive, but okay. $15,000. I really like the E60 M5 series. However, here, if you go a few years down, you can find a V8 automatic here, a 540i in E39, the one everybody wants. Is that I don't know, is that a paint effect or it's just a... Yeah. Yeah, we're paying a fortune for... Yeah, exactly, Luca, that's true. You're paying more for a lesser product. 540i, V8 engine. Automatic gearbox, sadly. Automatic gearbox, there's no way around it here. Looks okay. Looks okay, I will consider it. This price, 7 months, you need to come down. It's too expensive. In theory, it's in good condition. In theory, it's in good condition. I would love to have an E39. Probably not a 540 with the V8. Yeah. This is another car that I seriously like. The 323 Ti, which is an inline 6. This is a 3 Series compact, which came with an inline 6 rather than the usual inline 4s. And you can find them for interesting prices at times. This one is not the best unit, really. And they're asking a bit much, 9,000 really. There used to be a time where you can find them for 5,000, believe it or not. We can find a better unit for that money, though. Yeah, I mean, Volvos are pretty decent cars, too. This is an E30. Looks alright to be an E... No, it's modified. Yeah, this is somebody's track car. Yeah, this is someone's track car, without a doubt. Yeah, it's modified. It's engine swapped. Yeah. Still, $13,000. That's a lot of money. Get out of here. T6 Turbo. Yeah, jeez, that's a good one then. Fantastic, enjoy it. That's the right engine to get. Hope it serves you well. BMW is a bit harder than Mercedes-Benz here because BMW has the performance edge, right? So it attracts all the performance-minded people, which in translation means most of them are completely trashed. Most of them are all trashed, so it's really hard to find a nice BMW for good money. I mean, this is an E46. Looks alright. Looks like it hasn't been trashed. But it's an automatic, so makes sense. And they are asking $14,000 for a 2001 E46. That's a lot of money. For me, that's I could never afford that. Literally. There's another one. Again, $15,000 for this one. And hello? Excuse me? Excuse me? This bumper doesn't... Why is the bumper falling off here? Is this crash damage? Is this crash damage? Mismatch headlights. Mismatch headlights. I'm not saying anything, I'm just pointing out whatever things I see. It's a manual, at least. I'm not saying anything, but the pictures say more than you might think. Yeah, no, we're skipping this one. How much you have? Yeah, we have Alfa Romeo here. We have a couple of Alfa Romeos here. The Giulia, the Giulia is pretty expensive. We're gonna get into Alfa Romeo soon, because Alfa Romeo is a brand which everyone fears. If they fear the German ones, Alfa Romeo is like showing a crucifix to a demon. 99% of people run away from Alfa Romeos, and with good reason, because they have ridiculously rough lives. We're gonna get into that soon. We'll check a few BMWs again, and we'll get into Alfa Romeo, because that's another brand that I will always look into. See, this is a really nice car with the aesthetic M package. This is a 323 Ti, again, inline 6. Really, really pretty. Really, really pretty thing. I would love to get one of these things, but this one costs like $12,000, so no. No. I can afford that. I can't even afford the diesel. I can't even afford that. Let me tell you. Required expert emissions for simple procedures. It's more like the quality, the manufacturing quality of Italian cars is kind of unpredictable. You can get a really, really good one which never has any issues, and you can get one that explodes into flames right after you get it out of the dealership. That's the problem, really. They are really, really uneven. And this is a E36. This is a pretty nice E36. I will adore to get my hands on an E36 person. It's one of my favorite cars. I don't like the color on this one. It's just really, really boring. But the condition is stellar. The condition is impressive, really. They want $11,000. Condition is good, really, really good, but it's too much money for me. This is another 540i, which I know this one because I looked at it before and it's crashed. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but see this. The paint here doesn't match. It has the newer headlights. Yeah. See, you can see that the paint doesn't match here. Yeah, sadly, that car has opens me to a lot of questions. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The owner skips maintenance, and then you have to do everything yourself. It happens a lot of the time. I was telling that earlier, that people here skip all the maintenance, and then when they're going to sell the car, you end up buying a car without history and pretty much a trouble in wheels, pretty much. Everything is busted, and you have to fix it. Or they want to charge you twice because, oh, the car has history, you see? In quotation marks. So, you did the basic any car owner will do, and you want me to pay double for that? Get out of here, screw you. Yeah, I mean, in the 90s here, we had all sorts of car imports. You can find absolutely anything what was imported into Argentina in the 1990s. But the problem is that nowadays everybody wants the same cars, as I was telling earlier. So demand is really high for E36s because E36s are one of the few viable truck car options in this country. So yeah, everybody goes after them, and they are all trashed. And finding a good one is borderline impossible. I think that's all there is to it on BMWs. But yeah, I would like to get a BMW, E36, E46, a plethora of Mercedes-Benz cars that I've shown earlier. See, but they are all so expensive that it's impossible for me. I can't even buy a $1,000 car. I'm going to buy this. It's impossible. So we were saying Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo Giulia, Veloce. This is the 2.0, not the fun one. $65,000. This is a new car. This has no miles on it. But if it does, it's very, very few. This is a really pretty car, but I don't know. I don't know. I think this car is plotted. This is not the real color. I don't think this is a real color. Well, doesn't say, doesn't show. Yeah, $65,000. Yeah, that's getting into quadrifoglio money. Here's a 2022 one for $40,000. This is a Kronos from Temu. Yeah, it's more expensive. The knockoff is more expensive, Juanma. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Yes, we have the meter, and I can show you that in a bit. $40,000 for this Julia. The spec is much less impressive than the previous one. Sure. Here it is, Mito. Ah, 2023 earlier for the first one. That's a digital cluster. Ah. You know what? You know what I think? Yeah. I don't know which year it is, but it was registered on 2024. So yeah, it's probably an earlier car. You're right, Ludicrous Fool. Good catch, by the way. Here is the Mito. And the interesting ones, the Quadrifoglio Verde, the other ones are irrelevant. $14,000. No, I mean, I like the Mito. I think it's a nice car. But there's no way I will pay this money for one. No way I will pay this money for one. The thing is, because the Mito is relatively known, they charge a lot of money for them. Look, this is a base spec junior with the shit engine, $13,500, $13,000 for this. God, this is boring. This is a really, really boring car. There's no reason to buy this. No reason to buy this whatsoever. But no, $13,000 car. Progression, Quadrifoglio Verde. Distinctive. 1.4. If this is if the engine is correct here, this is the engine of the Quadrifoglio Verde too. 1.4 with 155 horsepower. This is more acceptable. I actually prefer these seats, like the full leather compared to the... I actually prefer this full leather compared to the Quadrifoglio Verde, which has Alcantara. Because the Alcantara doesn't stand the test of time, really. $20,000. Ooh, a yellow one. $14,000, but it's yellow. Willing to forgive all sins because it's yellow. I'm not willing to forgive your shit pictures, though. Jesus Christ, this is so annoying to me. You have good cars, right? And then you don't complain, oh, my cars don't sell, people don't want to buy, and you take 6 pictures where you can barely see the car. You can barely see the car, and then you complain that nobody wants to buy your cars, and it's also really expensive. Get out of here. God, that's annoying to me. Our car market is a disaster. I mean, I would like to do something about it, yes, but I'm completely broke and nobody knows me, so I can't do anything. And the people who actually do something, they all have money to actually buy cars and record themselves driving them, which I don't have. So I can't do anything outside just looking at them. Alpha Spider depends on the year, Kiryu. Depends on the year you're asking. There are all sorts of years. So this is the Mito market. Average $12,000 to $15,000. This is naturally aspirated multi-air. The colors are right. Does it have leather interior? Oh, you didn't take pictures of the interior. You absolute genius. You absolute genius. No, in most cases, I mean, that's the thing. You never know the conditions of cars here because they have no history whatsoever, but everyone wants top dollar. You have to pay top dollar for a car that's going to fall apart on you, 100%. So annoying. $13,000 for this. Kind of shit pictures, really. Full leather interior. Multi-air, turbo. Manual 6-speed. Honestly, for Mito money, I think you can get a Giulietta. I can get a Giulietta for you. Yeah, you kind of can get a Giulietta for Mito money. That's the problem. Because everybody knows the Mito now, and oh, the Mito. When it was new, people liked it, and they all forgot about the Giulietta, which is slightly bigger. So you can get prices for interesting prices for Giuliettas with the 1.4 turbo engine. Probably even cheaper than the Mitos. Yeah, you can. If you're lucky, you have to do the same here. Hiring someone to look at the car. Yeah, do a pre-purchase inspection and pray to God that the owner actually comes with you and actually wants to take part in the process. This is a 2016 one. I'm not looking for a car myself because I can't really afford anything outside keeping the lights on. But I'm showing how my car market looks, and explaining how the reasons why I will probably never have a car, really. So that's what we're doing here. I'm just looking at cars which people are curious of knowing about. So yes, that's what we're doing here. Benchling, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Again, this is probably better money. This is a better deal than a Mito, 100%. If I had to choose between a Mito and something, I would probably look for a Giulietta. Because the Giulietta is much cheaper. Well, not cheaper, but when you consider what kind of car it is cheaper. Because it's bigger. It's probably better equipped. Because the Giulietta was a trim above, a tier above the Mito. The Mito was the entry-level car. This came next. But for some reason, they're cheaper. It's like the people don't know them. They just don't know them, so they don't ask much. Well, much more than they do for a Mito, really. And they had this Quadrifoglio Verde variant, which is 235 horsepower. Really, really pretty on red. Beautiful shade of red. This must be pretty fun. 235 horsepower. However, it's much more expensive. This one is $19,000, and they cost that much, really. They do cost that much. You can find them for what, 23. There's one which is slightly cheaper, but that's all there is to it, really. They're kind of expensive. Then you had the Veloce, which was a. I don't remember much about the Veloce, but I know that it's slightly different aesthetically. And yeah, for these ones they just charge a lot more. I think the Veloce added a limited slip differential, but don't quote me on that. I don't really remember what set the Veloce apart from the other ones outside the years, because this is much newer than this one. This is 2012. This is 2019. People here buy stock diesel Giuliettas and claim there are sport cars. Ah, never ceases to amaze me. So, but if I had to look at Alfa Romeos, I will look for, say, a 156. 156 is one of my favorites, without a doubt. You can find interesting prices. This one, I don't know why it is so cheap. There's something wrong with this car. There has to be something wrong with this car because it has been sitting here for ages at a really low price. Alfa Romeo owners are so hated by car people. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind. I don't really judge by a group outside very specific cases. We don't have 147 GTAs in my country. At least they don't appear for sale often if they exist. This is a B6, the 156 B6. I don't like the shade of grey. I don't like. I could accept the black interior in this car. Sure, it has a B6. I will forgive some sins for this engine without a doubt. The 159 is a beautiful car. I adore the 159. This carbon fiber trim I don't like. I don't know if it's original or not. I don't like it. I really do like the 156 though. What a beautiful car. What an absolutely beautiful car. Here's another one for $400 more, $8,000. Again, black on black, really boring. But the condition on this one is so much better. This one looks so much better. So I will probably start asking for this one if I went looking for one. Alfa Romeo GT sold in Argentina. I don't think it was sold in really big numbers. I seen a couple of Breras here, but that's about it. We looked at the 156. This one is another one which we don't really remember. The 146. The 146 is the sibling of the 145, but this one has a boot, and it looks a bit weird, sure, but I like it. I like it. And the one to go for is the 2-liter TI. It's the 2-liter TI. So that's the one I'm looking for. If I was looking for a car, $6,000. You can give it for 5,000. We have a deal. I like this shade of blue. Really pretty shade of blue. Really pretty shade of blue. No interior shots. Shame on you, seller. Are you hiding some sins? There are not too many TIs. The most common are diesel ones, which I wouldn't mind for the right price, but they never appear for the right price. So, yeah, never mind. 155, yeah, I will be all over a 155, but oof, I will adore a 155. I will absolutely adore a 155, like this one. Twin spark with 16 valve engine, but I hope they have interior shots. This is a few paint details. That looks alright. It looks like you can correct it. Looks honest enough. Ah, the front optic is shattered. That's much more expensive. The twin spark engine. The twin spark engine is bulletproof. You just need to look after it. But this is the reason why I like so much the 155 Super. They came with this grey leather interior and wooden accents, and it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful interior. This one looks a bit tired, but I think you could correct that. I think you could clean it up a little bit. They are so, so pretty. I adore the 155 Super for this reason. It's probably one of the cars I will love to get my hands on. Sure, it has a few details for age. The pixels are dying here, but that's to be expected. And the headlight is a big problem, though. The headlights is a really big problem. And she'll be fine. But yeah, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There used to be a B6 here, but I guess it's gone. There was a really cheap B6 and solid condition. The thing is, it had a cloth interior. Like this one, but it was green with a cloth interior and a B6. It was insane. But it was really cheap to see. The cloth interior doesn't have the same charm. It just doesn't have the same charm. But this one is much more. I think this is cleaner. It looks much prettier. Or they made a better effort taking the pictures. Yeah, this is a pretty clean one. Same engine, but it's not a. It's not the Super. It doesn't have the leather interior or anything like it. Here's another Super. This one is 8 million pesos, so allow me to translate. Allow me to translate that to dollars. $6,400. So it's on the ballpark. We were looking at this. For this one, they want the same money for this one. For the previous Super that we looked with the broken up headlight. There's a really, really strange mark here. This seems like crash damage. Look at this. Or this is like a weird shadow. What the hell? What is this? Is not a weird shadow here, but I don't know. It looks really strange. This looks like paint issues. Doesn't look too honest, if you ask me. This is another paint issues. Yeah, adds up. And this is it. This is the interior. Look at the interior again. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Stunning interior, those things they came with. But well, the condition is a big question mark. This one seems to have a crash. Ah well. Can't have it all, I guess. So 155s, I found 4 right now, so yeah. The other card that I will really be all over. The 159 I will like, but the problem is the 159 is really, really expensive because there are very few in the country and you can't really choose much when it comes to spec and anything, so they are pretty expensive. This is pretty much in the ballpark of those Mercedes that we were watching earlier for around $10,000. So this is completely, completely out of my even dreams because I cannot have even 1,000. I'm gonna have 10,000. Yeah, right. I really like the 159s, but they are not on my list whatsoever. $14,000 for this one. This is a pretty nice one. At least it looks. Oof, ooh, God. Look at the interior. That's the black car with red interior works pretty well. I'll have to give him that. I have to give him that. This is a gorgeous car. This is a gorgeous unit. And how much they want for this one? $14,000. 2010. If the mileage is real, this is a pretty interesting deal. If the mileage is real, this is a pretty interesting. If the mileage is real and the condition is acceptable, then this is a pretty good deal, actually, for a 159. It's expensive, yeah, but this is a car which you're always going to pay a bit more. You're always going to pay a bit more for a good Alfa Romeo here. It's just the way it works. Another one that I really, really like is the 164. Sometimes you find 164s at interesting prices. I mean, look at this. This is a P6 164. This is the top of the range. How much is $14,000 in Argentinian currency? It will be around. Let me do the inverse operation then, because I'm used to just 14,000 times 12,150. 17 million pesos. 17 millions and a half. Yeah, but this one not about. I will 100% get the Alfa Romeo. Jesus Christ, but I will go down a few years and get a 164. I just like this. I adore the 164. It's probably one of my favorite Alfa Romeos. The pictures on this one are really, really bad, but the condition of the car is undeniable. And it's the right spec. It's the right spec, 100%. This one I will totally look into. And there's another Super here, which I think I like even more, because look at this color. I think I like it more than red, actually. I don't know. The red is really pretty, and this one is pretty as well. Yeah, I mean, right now inflation is slowing down. I mean, we are correcting most of the issues that we had, but yeah, this currency was established in the early 21st century, and it has devaluated like crazy ever since. I mean, when I was a child, the highest bill was 100 pesos, and now the highest bill is 20,000 pesos. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful car. I don't quite like the 164's dashboard, the panels. I like this. I really, really like this with all the keys and the green lighting. It looks like a plane cabin. I absolutely adore that look. A few other ones, but those are the main players here. There are GTs. Ah, it's an older Alfetta. Yeah, it's a classic one. I'm not on the ballpark for this. Beautiful car, but I'm not the right customer. Let's. Oh, this is a GT, it's not an Alfetta. 166. Let's see the ones. Sadly, the only 166 in offer is an automatic one. Sadly, the only 166 in offer is this. But this is a car that I absolutely adore as well. I will be all over a 166 too. I really like big four doors rather than performance cars for some reason. I guess I see them more attainable because, as I shown previously, anything with a performance in here is just unaffordable. But this is so cool. It's a shame about the gearbox because there are manuals of this. They appear, but yeah. Yeah, because in the 90s, Argentina was actually really well placed. But we had low taxes on cars, but so it meant that we have imports of almost anything, but they were still really expensive. I mean, let me show you. I'm gonna take this teacher because this, because I remember this. I'm gonna look for a specific website. Because I remember this. I remember this. What are you? Sorry for that. I'm just looking at things live. Where are you? Here, okay. This is a good example. Here. Okay. This is 1998 magazine review for a C240. A C240, a new one, in Argentina, costed you $56,900. Meanwhile, I hope that they do go back that much. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'll figure it out. I just want to compare the price. Ah, yeah, they don't go that far back. Damn it, I'll have to get creative. Well, I'm not going to be able to find the new car prices, but my point is that even with lower taxes as we had at the time, we're still paying an insane amount of money for cars here. And yeah, sure, this is a high-end car, but my point remains: even at that time where we had lower taxes, prices of cars were really, really high still. So it's not all taxes, really. It's important that we have lower taxes so we have more competition, really. But at the same time, we have an internal problem that we need to solve. And in my opinion, the only way to solve that is just by allowing people to import everything and just, yeah, either adjust your prices to the market or just close shop, really, because it's insane how much they are asking for some of these cars. And as I told you, there are a few Breras in the country. $45,000. Personally, I will pay $45,000 for a Brera rather than a Sirocco. But that's just me, you know. Not the best pictures, but they are beautiful cars. So beautiful. I wanted to look at the Breras, but what else is on the ballpark for 147s? 147s are really expensive for some reason, and they're all these automatic cell speed, which is this atrocious gearbox which nobody really wants. But they are so expensive. So yeah, the 147 is never on my lists. Of course, I will actually consider. We can look at Audi, sure. By the way, hey, $32,000 for a Audi TT, and to make it worse, this has the long license plate, which means this was imported from a different country where they probably bought it by like for $5,000, and they're trying to flip it here for $30,000. You're insane. You're absolutely insane. My God. I don't. But yeah, it's an overseas car. It's gonna be in good condition. It's gonna be looked after. It wasn't exposed to the abuse that they have to experience in these countries. But yeah. Now this is just one. We can look at TTs if you like. Sure, we can look at TTs. Unit brought from Italy in 2016. Uh-huh. Jesus, you probably got it for nothing, you piece of shit. I wish I could import cars for absolutely nothing, let me tell you. But I can't. Okay. Wow. Wow. So you see the same I'm seeing, right? This car has less miles, is 10 years newer, and it's worth the same as the other one that we just watched. This makes much more sense than the other one. Yeah, see, it's always the same. It's always the same. The people who imported cars on the first, because here's the thing, right? You can, if you lived overseas for I think it's 18 months or more, and you bought a car and you want to bring it back into the country, you can. You just have to go through a whole process and pay taxes, and you can. You just can bring cars. But the people who do that, whenever they put it on the market here, they just put it at insane prices. It's just ridiculous. Look, this one has less miles and it's $26,000. Worse pictures, yes, absolutely. Those pictures are going to sell that car, but this is a $26,000 car. Sorry. Oh. 24, 27. All for newer cars. All of it for newer cars. No, when you get into the market of these cars, it is absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. No, you're going to lose your mind if you start going down this rabbit hole. You thought the Siroccos were bad? This is even worse. Performance cars and cars which are kind of rare and good looking and things like that, they are the worst. People think that they just have a Rolls Royce, really. Example, look at this by an Audi dealership. Usually these guys are just dealerships, so tend to charge more. These are really good units, and it's cheaper than that one that was brought from Italy. See, this is the problem what I mean with Argentinians. That the problem are Argentinians themselves. And the only way to solve this is by just mass importing cars from overseas, and whoever goes broke, goes broke. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of this. What is Argentina's most underlooked car? I guess Argentina's most underlooked brand is Volvo, really. Volvo is probably one of the most ignored brands in Argentina. And you can find pretty good deals if you look at Volvo, actually. If you have a bit of patience, you can find ridiculously good deals. This is an automatic, so I'm not its target. But this is a 2005 car, which is an import, which is pretty much meant to compete with Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and BMW. For $5,000. There's something wrong with this one? No, in theory it has a lot of work done to it. Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, there are problems. Yeah, no, forget about this one. This one's broken. I wasn't saying anything, but the point remains. You can find really good deals in Volvo as a whole compared to the other German brands. So yeah, that's my go-to for the most underrated brand in the country. You can find cars from bigger segments for a lot less money. I mean, this is a really cool car. This is an S60. Ooh. Yep, this is an X60. Automatic. Volvo doesn't have many performance offerings, sadly, but yeah, it's a bit expensive though. But it's a pretty nice car. Yeah, maybe things have changed a little bit. It used to be much. Never mind. Here's one. This is so clean. So clean. I like this. I think this is actually cool. It's too slow, but it's a cool car nonetheless. Yeah, here another really underrated car here, which is in tie with Volvos, is actually a specific generation of the Ford Mondeo. A really, what are you? Titanium up to 2015? Yeah, 2015. Good enough. This generation of the Ford Mondeo. This is a completely underrated car too. Because it has the same engine from the Volvo C30, the T5, the 2.5 inline 5 turbo, with around 230 horsepower. But it's actually, I think it's actually quicker than the average. I think it's thereabouts with the average bag offerings with the 2.0 turbo A4s and the like. The 200 horsepower engine. I don't remember the name. They are thereabouts on performance, and these ones tend to be cheaper. But people don't really know these cars, and they are afraid of them. So you can get really good deals on this, and it's also Volvo heritage. This engine is Volvo. And yeah, they're actually really beautiful cars. Really beautiful cars. I mean, look at this. This is the next gen, and the next gen is almost $10,000 more. It's almost more than double the price of that one. I mean, yeah, sure, it's prettier, but it's not an inline 5, you see. It doesn't sound like an inline 5. Here's another one, inline 5. $11,000. Beautiful cars. Beautiful, beautiful cars. This inline 5s. Inline 5 and Mondeos. They sold in the UK as well, so if somebody's in the UK or Europe and wants to have an inline 5, you could actually look at this. They actually came in manual gearboxes too, so if you try hard enough, maybe you can find one. Yeah, the usual. People skip maintenance, trash them, and they break, and they are expensive to fix. Yes, true. That happens a lot here too. That happens a lot here too. Here's one for $9,000. Manual too. Hey, Juanma, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. You're sending a lot of super chats today. That's really nice of you. Please don't show them on there. Keep it secret until I buy one. Hey, I'm not buying one, so nobody's buying one, okay? When I buy one, then we'll talk. But I'm not buying one yet, so I have to make this entertaining somehow. So this is another car that it's pretty underrated. Yeah. So I guess it's time we actually look at the crazy cars to wrap things up. So might as well start with my favorite brand. Might as well start with my favorite brand. Are you ready for insanity? No, you're not ready for insanity. 6 figures. This is a new Carrera price for a 997. A relatively standard 997. Carrera S, nothing special, not a special color, not a special spec. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary in this 997. Absolutely beautiful car, that's undeniable. However, $122,000. Did I say that correctly? 100,000. I get really stuck with numbers in English, let me tell you. $100,000 for this. $128,000 for a Carrera S of 2006. Yep, 997s. This is probably half on the US market, if that. Convertible, 1 year newer, Carrera 4S. Can you load? Yes, please. Carrera 4S, convertible. Hey, that's a retrimmed interior. I don't think they offer this club on stock. Yeah, the pictures are alright, but again, they could be better, and the site is also part of the problem because the site is pretty limited on storage space and the like. Forest, I'm not sure if they offer this cloth for 997s. I think this is a retrim. No, the Cayenne is probably the most reasonable one, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, believe me. I'm gonna look at 911s. Oh, no, this is not a GT3. This is not a GT3. It looks like one, but it's a kit car. It's a replica. It's modified. It's modified. It has the engine put to 3.8. Yeah, no, this is not a GT3 RS. You got excited, no? No, this is not a. No. Forget it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah. Don't get too excited. $430,000 for a 2019 Turbo convertible, Turbo S convertible. You can probably buy 2 new turbos for this money. I think the turbo is a what, $220,000 car? No, it's probably less, but how much is a new Turbo S? I forgot. What, 180, 190? Probably with a new price bump is pushing to 200. But yeah, you can probably buy 2 new turbos for the price of this one. I'll probably spec them up quite nicely. This is a pretty shit spec with GT silver, black interior. This is a really boring spec. Price $430,000. Turbo 997 turbo. 997 turbo. I think nobody argues that the 997 generation is beautiful. Manual gearbox. Price though, $290,000. It's infuriating, man, let me tell you. Convertible turbo, 997 as well, $240,000. Another really boring spec. Really boring spec. I mean, if you're going to buy one of these cars, at least buy it in a color. Jesus. So boring. Yeah, exactly. You can buy new 911s for this, and we're not talking entry-level Carreras. You can probably buy GT3s for this money. 964. Mars Red. This is a red 964. This is not Mars Red. Never mind. This one has the longer license plate, so it was brought over from overseas recently. Well, in the newest 10 years, latest 10 years, I guess. Recently, this is a really nice car. Undeniable. And you might think that $219,000 is a lot, which I agree. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And you might say, why? Well, we're going to take a small detour here. We're going to enter real quick to bring a trailer. And we're going to look at 964s. 964 non-turbo. Okay. Let's find a Carrera 4 Coupe. No, Cabriolet, no. This doesn't apply because of the color. $1990. This is a very similar spec. It's an okay. Let me do maths real quick. Okay, I need to do a couple of maths real quick, but you'll understand when I'm done with this. 2025 minus 30, 1995. Okay, we're good. We're pretty good. So this car sold for $96,000. Okay, this is similar to the car that we were just watching. Carrera 4 in guards red with a black interior. Pretty similar to the one that we were just watching for $219,000, right? So turns out that you can actually import these cars if you pay around 60 to 80% tax on the sale price. So let's say $96,000. $96,000. $96,000 times 80 divided by 100 is $76,800 plus 96,000 ends up at $170,000. So you're paying $40,000 more for a car that is already in the country and doesn't have to do any of the paperwork, any of the nightmare of bringing another car in, finding people who can put it on a ship and bring it from the US to Argentina, which is pretty much an insane trip. It's still $40,000 more, but it's on the ballpark of what it costs to import one of these classic cars. I don't know. There might be some logic to the price of that 964, actually. Because, you know, they just want to make money. That's fair, but there might be some logic to this. It's still $40,000 over market, though. If we add the taxes, I mean, if we remove the taxes, this is insanity, of course. But if we add the taxes to the equation without adding shipping costs and storage costs, because you have to keep it somewhere in the US until you can move it and put it on a ship, we are only $40,000 off. I will say that this for $200,000 will be much more reasonable. But you understand the point that I'm trying to make, right? Do you see how insane it is that we have to pay so much taxes for everything? If you could bring one car, just one car overseas for yourself, and you cannot sell it, you cannot drive it, what would it be? It'll probably be a manual Mercedes-Benz W124 with an inline 6, probably an E300 or... yeah, an E300 with a manual. I don't want a wagon or a coupe. It has to be a 4-door saloon. Because honestly, if I had to buy just a single car, I will buy a car that I'm going to keep my entire lifetime. You might say that's boring, but I don't think so. I think it's nice to have a car which you're going to keep your whole life. It's reasonable. You just have that car and then you just see where life takes you. But you always have that same car, you know, which it's going to last an entire lifetime if people keep making parts for them. That will be my choice, really. Again, this is an early Targa. Beautiful shade of yellow, yes. Beautiful car. What is this? What is this trash? What is that? T is the entry level. It's not the S. Again, expensive. Yeah, I don't know how much it will cost you if you have taxes, really. Why is this? Uh-huh. Okay, this is interesting. So this is a 997, which just appeared. $95,000. This is really expensive, but compare the fact that the other one was, what, 140? It's an automatic, sadly. It had some panels resprayed. The ad says that they have been resprayed. It's all mechanically sound in theory. Has no infractions, has all the paperwork required. It's a boring spec. Yes, it's a really boring spec. But this is an interesting price. Some people are starting to come to their senses, you see? It's a 2007 car, and it was licensed with it was registered with a license plate on 2013. This is really common for these sorts of cars. They take years to sell at times. Good paint is good. Some resprayed panels because of the year. It's a 50. It has 50,000 kilometers. You gotta be joking. They didn't respray them because of the year. Maintenance, no. Maintenance is good. Is it the best in the market? No. Is it the cheapest one in the market? Yes. Can you check it with a mechanic? No infractions. All paperwork. $95,000. I mean, jeez. This is reasonable in quotation marks. I mean, here's another one, another 997. This is an S though, but still. The spec is much prettier with dark. Ooh, God, look at that interior. It's a shame the pictures are kind of trash, but God, look at this interior. This is a good unit. Dark blue with tan interior and wood accents. Yeah, I absolutely approve of this car. But yeah, it's $30,000 more. Not sure if I will pay that. I dream of getting an Audi A1 someday. Well, I hope you get one. I really do hope you get one. It's a reasonable dream car, the Audi A1. So yeah, this is the market for 911s in my country. What a pain, man. What an absolute torture. So we can look at Boxsters. The Boxster. Yeah, the Boxster is cheaper, but it's also really insane. $68,000 for a Boxster S. I don't remember the generation codes for the Boxsters. I forget them. Not the best spec, really. Quite a boring car. Quite a boring car, really. Hey, Wind Valley, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'm sleepy as hell. And Pookie wants some Overwatch too, so I'm going to refill my coffee and join him. See you, lads. Thank you for dropping by, man. I appreciate that. A Boxster S, $76,000. Again, really boring spec. Really boring car. I wouldn't pay $76,000 for this. No way. Absolutely no way. $70,000. This is more. This is a bit more attractive. But why is an AF plate? This is too new. This is too old for an AF plate. The plate is newer. Somebody brought this from somewhere. Again, this is a better color for this car. $70,000. Doesn't say anything about the license plate. That license plate is fishy. I don't know why it has such a new license plate. For context, this license plate started to be used after 2016. And this is a Boxster. It's not an S. This is a first generation. $45,000. $45,000 for a non-S first generation Boxster is insanity. Car is clean, undoubtedly, and the condition is good. It's a manual gearbox, but still, $45,000. It's not even worth half of this. In reality, this is insane money. It's really, really expensive. Again, I know this is a newer one. This is an S. This is an S. Yes. For the same price of that one, the pictures are atrocious though. But look at this interior. Holy, look at that. That is beautiful. Still, you should have done a better job taking the pictures. Holy shit. $42,000. No, you can't change license plates like that. No, you can't. Really expensive, man. Really expensive. Where's the Cayman? Oh, Caymans are split. What the hell? I hate this site. Cayman S. 6,000 kilometers though. Boring spec. Boring spec. No, I don't remember how much they were new. $135,000 for a Cayman S of 2012. 2012 with... Look at this retard. This car has 6,000 kilometers. This has 3 times that, 19,000 value. $160,000. This is more expensive than the car with less miles and better pictures. God. What is this? What are these red... Why? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? And C5 Corvette, what the hell? Get out of here. $160,000 for this. Seriously. Seriously. I'm starting to get annoyed. Cayman S. Let's just look at this one. Oh, this is more like it, but still, they're $90,000. This is a pretty one. Holy, this is a pretty one. Really pretty car. But still, $90,000 for a Cayman S. Insanity. Complete insanity. $85,000 for a Cayman S in black. Again, really boring spec. Really boring spec. Low mileage. Yeah, all of these cars are going to have low mileage, to be honest. This one has 70,000 kilometers on the clock. Yeah, that's how much they're asking for these ones. Let's look at the 718s. Nah, the only 718 for sale right now. An absolutely boring spec. You will fall asleep looking at this thing. How much? $200,000 for a 2017 car. Get out of here. Good God. What do you sell this to? Nobody's going to pay this. Nobody's going to pay for this. And the other one is like the new one. The new one is $240,000. Why? Only $40,000 difference with a new car. Yeah, but then again, this is with no options, completely stripped out. Yeah, still. We got Boxster misspelled. Let me look at this. Boxster misspelled. $50,000. I'll give you the spec is beautiful so far. White car, gray interior. I like the spec, but $51,000 for this. I need to get out of here, man. My dream is getting out of here and flooding the Argentinian market with cheap imports from other countries. And just taking over the industry and becoming rich in the process. That's my end game goal. I'll probably die before that happens, so yeah. If somebody wants to steal my idea, so be it. Cayennes are the most reasonable, though, for sure. Cayennes are the most reasonable. You can find Cayennes for all sorts of interesting prices. I mean, this is a $30,000 Cayenne. I mean, sure, it's a base spec B6, but it doesn't really matter. It's a Cayenne. It's gonna be equipped to hell. And if you want a somewhat mid-tier new car, you can buy one of these. I will do that. I'll buy a Cayenne rather than a mid-tier Argentinian Mercosur commuter. This is a Cayenne S. It's a B8. Really boring choice of colors. Yeah. Puts me to sleep. But the B8 that keeps me awake, so it's a trade-off. I can live with that. Expensive diesel. 2008. Another base B6. This is a bit cheaper. $25,000. In theory, it's in good condition. Why does it say 30,000 if you pay? What to get out of here? Dishonest advertisement everywhere. I mean, compared to the rest of the cars, I mean, I have to say that the Cayennes are somewhat reasonable compared to the rest of the market. I mean, they're still insane, but even in insanity, you need to find something reasonable. You need to find something reasonable in insanity. There's no way around it. I just want to find a Cayenne S, really. This is a turbo. Ooh. 2008 turbo, the final year for this. Oh no, this is the first year of this style, I think. It's I don't like the weird blotted look. Looks like trash. Looks like trash. $40,000 though. The hybrid ones I don't care about. Cayenne S 2005. Please tell me it has a dark interior. Dark interior, but $23,000. Very chill in good condition. $21,000. Oh, we're going down. We're going down, baby. I like this. $21,000. This is a base B6 automatic, of course. But hey, could be worst. This is new car money. You can actually buy a new car for this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is new car money. A new car or a Porsche. 15-year-old, more than almost 20-year-old, but Porsche nonetheless. Yeah, they're mostly B6 entry level, really. I want to see if there are any Cayenne S for reasonable prices. This one is... Ooh. No, this one is still overpriced. I mean, go and look regular Cayennes in the US and Europe. These ones are really, really expensive. But for our market, it makes sense. That's the thing. I will totally buy one of these. I will be so happy with a Cayenne. The first Cayennes have grown on me over the years. You want to see Macans? Macans are insanity. Macans are insanity because they're newer. So $90,000 for this. I mean, 2017 base entry level Macan. Yeah, let this set the stage for the rest of them. They are really, really expensive things. Really expensive. Cayenne S. Macan S is cheaper than... Oh, because it has a third of the miles, this one. Okay, but still. $85,000 for a Macan S. Yeah, Macans are really expensive. They're not worth it, really. These ones are insane. Totally not worth it. Totally not worth it. Cayenne Turbos. Hey! Hey! This one is a bit rough. Oh, the interior makes up for it, though. God, look at this. But still, it's pretty rough. Few pictures. Questionable title. Porsche without an S. Black. Doesn't even say the model. $26,000. This is trouble waiting to happen, but still. Still, interior makes up for it. Yeah, a Cayenne is cheaper than a Macan, but if I go to, I don't know, 2018 Cayennes, they're not gonna be cheaper. 2017. That are more expensive. See, this is $110,000. I mean, 110. I don't know how if I'm saying this correctly. My brain stopped working. But it's a six-figure car. This is more expensive. We were looking at the cheap Cayennes, not the expensive ones. $110,000 for 2017. Here's another one for 100,000. Another one for 100,000. Say that they're not cheaper. Oh god, look at this interior. I like it. They're not cheaper. This is like a INS though. Beautiful. They're not. I mean, there is another way to actually look at Porsche actually. So if I write collector cars and go to the cars tab, and we go to Porsche. This is the Porsches that people consider collector cars. We have a classic 911 by example for $150,000. This is a 911. It looks like a 912. This is probably a very entry level 911. I have my doubts. Yeah, it's probably 911. Oh, this is pretty. 928 for $70,000. I love the 928. One of my favorites. And it has the bash interior too. Oh god, first year with bash interior. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Outstanding car. Look at this beauty. Yeah, this is kit cars. I don't even know what a Super Carrera is. Super Carrera. What do you mean by Super Carrera? It has the whale tail, the turbo look? Or is an SC Carrera? 911 SC. I don't know what you mean by Super Carrera, but it's not worth $200,000. That's for sure. Any RX-7 for sale? Look, we'll wrap up with the Mazda RX-7. Why not? Hey! Look at that! There is an FC for sale. Red Mazda FC for sale. $36,000. Doesn't say if it's a turbo one, though. This one has been sitting here for ages, and it's not a turbo one. There's an RX-8. $38,000 for an RX-8, by the way. $38,000 for an RX-8. You have to give them away in reasonable countries. Well, no, it's almost 40. Never mind, it's $40,000. Get out of here. Let's write this again. Yeah, we're looking at toy cars, the only cars that I can afford. I think that's a good moment to wrap things up, though. With the RX-7. I hope you all have enjoyed a quick look at my car markets and understanding why things are so expensive and why I can't have cars if things keep going the way they are. So, yeah, I hope all of you have enjoyed this stream. I hope all of you have a good Sunday and start your week nicely. Enjoy the rest of your week and good luck at work, school, whatever you got to do. And with that said, I think it's time to wrap things up and see each other soon when I start streaming again. I'm glad all of you have joined me to actually watch cars. And that's all there is to it. Take care. Bye for now.